Welcome to the fantasy audiobook, Doomsday Catastrophe. Fortunately, I have a family prosperity system. Chapter 61. Control him first. And Qingwu had no combat experience at all, so she could only express her understanding while playing games. That's right, just do it. And Qingge smiled slightly and said to his sister in an encouraging tone. And Qingwu gained a little more confidence. She looked at Li Jing, raised a small, plain hand, and began to condense the water element. Web of corrosion. You fools, what the hell are you doing? Li Jing felt something was wrong. He didn't understand why Qingge and others were not afraid of him. Then, he saw Qingwu raise a hand, and dark ink-like elements condensed in her hand. In less than a second, a palm-sized fishnet-shaped object appeared in her hand. Then, a palm-sized fishing net was thrown over by Qingwu and flew towards him. The net got bigger the closer it got to him. This is not a visual effect, but the fishing net is really getting bigger. Moreover, Li Jing also felt a dangerous atmosphere from this fishing net. Extraordinary. Li Jing's eyes were about to burst at this moment and he roared loudly. This is absolutely extraordinary power. Before the new era, most of the simple potions they made were just simplified versions of extraordinary potions. After use, they could only improve some physical qualities or provide some simple ability bonuses. For example, the green potion used by Chen Zubo mainly increased speed. The potion Li Jing made himself was only used to improve his physique. But it only improves physical fitness. And Qingwu who directly throws an elemental fishing net like this is definitely an extraordinary ability. How is this possible? Li Jing was horrified. How could someone create extraordinary potions now? But before he could think through the results in his mind, the fishing net had already enveloped him. Ah! The huge fishing net enveloped Li Jing, and the end was tightly attached to the ground. He was trapped and unable to move an inch. At the same time, the corrosive water element came into contact with his skin, instantly burning out a puff of green smoke, and Li Jing endured the pain. He kept shouting, "Sister, what should we do next?" And Qingwu looked at her sister, her beautiful eyes full of confusion. She used to play games as a support player. She would stand behind and throw a few skills, and then be killed by the enemy. At this moment, she had no idea what to do. Xiao Wu, take this gun. Kill him. And Qingge's pretty face was filled with chills. She took out her red tassel spear and handed it to Qingwu. And Qingwu's hands trembled slightly. She was very scared, but she did not refuse. Her sister would not harm her. Since her sister asked her to do it, she had to overcome everything and do it. She held the red tassel spear in both hands, her body was trembling slightly, but she still walked towards Li Jing firmly. Li Jing was controlled, unable to move, and could only wait for death, but he still had two men. When Haipeng and Lao Jia saw that their boss was trapped, they immediately rushed forward. They had never awakened their memories and did not understand the horror of extraordinary abilities. Although they were a little frightened by the large net that appeared out of thin air, they were not very afraid of the delicate and childish-looking Qingwu, even if she was holding a spear. Both of them had weapons in their hands. They were traditional Han swords from the handicraft store. They had polished and sharpened them. They waved their long swords and rushed towards Qingwu. And Qingwu's mind went blank for a moment, and she was stunned for a while. Xiao Wu, use the mirror ability. And Qingge reminded behind her. But she did not step forward. If Qingwu was really in danger, she could take action at any time, but until the critical moment, she still hoped that her sister would deal with them by herself. Yes, mirror image. And Qingwu came back to her senses, and with a thought, the sound of tidal waves sounded out of thin air around her. At the same time, the ground became wet, and water splashed everywhere. Her body disappeared for a moment, and then three people appeared in the living room. And Qingwu. These three and Qingwu were exactly the same, with the same appearance, the same decoration, the same smell and temperature, and they all hold long guns. Haipeng and Lao Jia couldn't help but slow down. How come one person suddenly became three? They didn't know which one to fight for a while. The duration of your net is limited, deal with the enemies you have controlled first. Ji Yutong took a sip of the cool Feijai happy water and burped happily, not forgetting to direct Qingwu from behind. The three and Qingwu held spears and stabbed at Li Jing at the same time. Haipeng and Lao Jia had no time to agonize. They randomly selected a target and thrust their long swords at it together. The three in Qingwu were all slightly stunned, but immediately ignored the attacks of Haipeng and Lao Jia. With a pop, 3 spears pierced Li Jing's body at the same time, but they only made one sound. There was only one wound on his body. Ah! Along with Li Jing's shrill screams, among the three in Qingwu, the one stabbed by 2 long swords turned into a pool of water and fell to the ground. The 2 in Qingwu drew out their spears and took a step back slightly with pale faces. Li Jing's screams put some psychological pressure on her. Xiao Wu, you did a good job, but you have to hit the last hit. Only dead enemies are good enemies. And Qingge encouraged from behind. You must overcome your fear, otherwise you won't be able to help Zhang Lin in the future. If you are too busy, you will become a useless person. When An Qingwu heard this, her expression changed, and she immediately stabbed Li Jing with another spear. Ah, should I draft it? Haipeng, you too, hurry up and take action. You mad, hurry up and save me. Li Jing was shot twice, but his vital parts were not injured. His whole body was shaking with pain, but he did not dare to move. If he struggled, the contact area between the corrosive net and him would become larger, causing even greater damage. Brother Jing, don't worry, we are here. Having just easily solved one of An Qingwu's fantasies, the two of them no longer feared An Qingwu. Haipeng and Lao Jia looked at each other and simply each chose a target and attacked it with their swords. Court death. And Qingge finally took action at this time, condensing violent wind energy in her hands, and instantly, 2 sharp blades condensed from wind energy flew towards the 2 of them. Puff was heard twice, and the 2 heads fell to the ground. My sister had already seen blood, so she had been trained, and she had no fighting ability, so An Qingge didn't force her to kill everyone. At this time, Li Jing was not dead yet. He was expecting his 2 men, Haipeng and Lao Jia, to save him. However, he saw An Qingge use his superpower to kill them instantly. For a moment, his face was filled with shock. I ignored the severe pain. Supernatural again. Who are you? Why were you able to awaken the extraordinary template before the new era? And there was more than one. At this time, Li Jing completely collapsed. It's no wonder that Li Jing collapsed. These women are so powerful. The more mysterious Zhang Lin still doesn't know how powerful he is. It was because he was afraid of Zhang Lin's strength that he did not dare to challenge Zhang Lin himself. Instead, he chose to use secret tricks to instigate Zhang Lin and Lu Dajiao as enemies. But Li Jing had no idea that Zhang Lin was hiding so deeply. Not to mention Zhang Lin's own strength, Lu Dajiao is no match for these 2 women. His plan is like a clown. Yutong, ask him if he has any accomplices. And Qingge made arrangements safely. Ji Yutong jumped off the sofa, came to the corrosion web, and said with a smile, Captain Li, long time no see. As you can see, you have no hope now. Tell the truth, do you have any accomplices? And Qingge meant that Li Jing would be tortured if he didn't say anything. Only Ji Yutong may have experience in this area. But Ji Yutong knew that there was no need to use torture at all. She had experienced countless life and death crises. She knew very well what a person who had completely lost hope looked like. Li Jing was so disheartened now that he didn't resist and said directly, I have a little brother who is keeping an eye on me at the door. Then, he first explained the purpose of his visit, and then told Ji Yutong the appearance of the young man who was watching at the city gate. Then he looked resigned and said, I'm very cooperative. Give me a good time. Ji Yutong nodded and gave An Qingge a look. But An Qingge had concerns. Are his words credible? How about trying it with torture first? I saw Zhang Lin have a trick last time, and it was very useful. She recalled Zhang Lin's move to interrogate the mysterious man Shi-kun after killing the corpse queen. There's no need. I can see that he has no intention of resisting anymore and won't lie. Ji Yutong waved his hand. She didn't trust Li Jing that much. As the former captain of the 4th team, she knew Li Jing and knew that Li Jing was not a good person and did not have particularly strong strength or planning. Such a person really has no plot to pull off. Xiao Wu, do it. Since An Qingge wants to train his sister, he must train her thoroughly and let her see blood on her hands, so that she can participate in various battles in the future. At the same time, she called Mu Xiaoya and Mu Xiaohui over and asked them to get used to seeing Li Jing being killed with their own eyes. Under everyone's gaze, and Qingwu held a red tassel spear and pierced Li Jing's chest again. He had a relatively high physique, and the previous 2 shots and the damage from the corrosive web did not kill him, but now Qingwu stabbed his vital part, and eventually his heart stopped beating in pain. And Qingwu, who had killed someone with her own hands, turned pale. She stood in a pool of blood in the living room in a panic, not knowing what to do. Mu Xiaoya and Mu Xiaohui in the rear were also very uncomfortable, but due to their fear of Qingge, they could only endure it. You must adapt as soon as possible. Soon, zombies will besiege the City of Hope. There will be a big battle. Not only with zombies, but also with the same kind. And Qingge no longer doted on his sister at this time, but looked seriously and said to Qingwu and the twin sisters. We are a family. For the good life of our family in the future, each of us must do our best, otherwise I will not let you off lightly. At this moment, even Ji Yutong was a little afraid of Qingge. She quickly expressed her position. Sister Qingge, you will be our eldest sister from now on, and we will all listen to you. Sister Qingge, we understand, we will adapt as soon as possible. The twin sisters also expressed their stance quickly. And Qingwu said, Sister, don't worry, if someone dares to hurt you and your brother-in-law, I will not be lenient. And Qingge nodded with satisfaction and clapped his hands. Okay, let's clean up the house together, and then go to the city gate to get rid of Li Jing's little brother. On a street near Hope City, Chen Zubo was harvesting zombie ears. The two found a lone zombie group. After a simple cleanup, they obtained a dozen zombie ears. Zhong Lin was sitting in the car, staring at a brass box. Open the cover, and the back of the smooth, mirror-like cover inside is like a monitoring screen, showing what is happening in the back garden of the villa. And Qingwu and her twin sisters dug a hole in the garden, while Qingge and Ji Yutong dragged several corpses to the back garden. Soon they dug a huge deep hole together and threw several corpses into it. They did not rush to fill up the soil, but went out together. After a while, they came back and found another body in the pit. Finally, they filled in the soil, and there was a tall mound in the backyard of Villa number 16. Some people really don't want their lives. Zhong Lin sighed, closed the brass box and put it in his pocket. This is the reward given by Qingge's pregnancy system. The box produces 1 detective spirit every week. After placing the detective spirit, the lid can be used as a screen to see what the detective spirit sees. When Zhong Lin goes out, he will often take out his investigative heart to take a look to avoid any problems at home. Just when Chen Zubo was cutting off the zombie's ears, he took it out and looked at it, and happened to see Li Jing and others climbing in from the backyard. He was a little nervous at first, wondering whether to go back immediately. But after thinking about it, I felt relieved. There are 3 people in the family who have awakened the extraordinary template, and there is also Ji Yutong, an experienced reborn person. If this allows someone to steal the home, then it can only be said that Zhong Lin and these women have found the wrong person. So Zhong Lin resisted the urge to go back and looked carefully for a while, and sure enough he saw Qingge and others burying the body in the backyard. He was particularly pleased when he saw Qingge and others bringing another body back from outside and throwing it into the pit. They have also grown up and will become his support in the future. Zhong Lin, let's withdraw. After Chen Zubo harvested the zombie's ears, he saw a huge zombie army approaching at the end of the wide road, and quickly reminded Zhong Lin. Zhong Lin looked up and made a decision immediately, let's withdraw. In one morning, more than 30 zombies were killed, which was nothing to Zhong Lin. However, the current situation is like this, and others are not as good as Zhong Lin. A large number of zombies have gathered under the command of the Zombie King. It is difficult to find lone zombies, and you have to be prepared to be surrounded by the zombie army. Many people have completely retreated into Hope City and no longer go out. Zhong Lin thought for a while and simply went back with Chen Zubo. There won't be much gain outside, but the risks are getting bigger and bigger. It's better to go back. Moreover, an accident happened at home, and Zhong Lin also wants to go back quickly to understand the situation. Hope in the city. Ji Yutong is doing business in the city lord's mansion. The current 5th captain, Li Jing, challenged me and was killed by me. I will take his place. Also, his house and everything belong to me. After Zhong Lin came back, she called Zhong Lin and came to the city lord's mansion. Since Li Jing has been killed, it cannot be in vain. According to the rules of the city lord, if Li Jing challenges and is killed by Ji Yutong, then everything about him will belong to Ji Yutong. Although Li Jing was killed by An Qingwu, for the women in the family, they are all one family, and whoever replaces Li Jing's position will be the same, so the most experienced Ji Yutong was chosen. The reason why she called Zhang Lin was because she was afraid that someone would challenge her after she took over Li Jing's position. Only with Zhang Lin, a well-known ruthless person in Hope City, did she dare to come out with confidence. The fifth captain challenges you. Everyone in the city lord's mansion was stunned. Ji Yutong has no status or property. The house that originally belonged to her is now in Zhang Lin's name. Li Jingxian's pain in the balls will challenge her. What? Do you have any objections? Zhang Lin stood up at the right time and asked with an unkind expression. In fact, according to the rules of the city lord, Li Jing broke into a private house and was killed by a counterattack. It did not count as a challenge. In this case, everything he had would be taken back by the city lord. But Li Jing is already dead, and dead people cannot speak. Whether he will be killed for challenging or breaking into a house privately depends on what Ji Yutong says. If Zhang Lin were not there, the people in the city lord's mansion might refuse Ji Yutong's inheritance of Li Jing's things on the pretext that Ji Yutong had no evidence. But now, when the staff saw Zhang Lin's unfriendly eyes, he immediately shrank his head and said, "No, no objection." How dare he say anything? So far, no one who has offended Zhang Lin has survived. Moreover, he is also a person that the city lord is infinitely optimistic about. In the heart of the city lord, he is second only to the first captain. But the first captain is the city lord's absolute confidant. In every reincarnation, her position as the first captain is very stable, and no one dares to challenge her. Before Zhang Lin, only the first captain had enjoyed this level of treatment. Then, there is no need to say more about Zhang Lin's position in the city lord's heart. The more the staff thought about it, the more they thought about it, and their mentality instantly became much calmer. With a smile on their face, they said, "Captain Zhang, you have already spoken, how can we still not believe it? Wait a moment, we will go through the formalities for Captain Ji." Well, Ji Yutong hasn't taken the position yet, the staff has already called the captain. After a while, Ji Yutong's identity changed. As long as the city guard is established in the new era, she will be the number 6 figure in Hope City. On the way back, Ji Yutong also lamented the impermanence of things in the world. An old salted fish has turned over now. Come to my place tonight, I will thank you very much. When he returned home and stood in front of the door, Ji Yutong said to Zhang Lin with charming eyes and a rosy face. "No." Zhang Lin refused with an upright face, "I will accompany Qingge today, you can wait until tomorrow." Ji Yutong was so angry that he didn't want to die. This man was so uninteresting. "It's just for today. It will be different tomorrow if you come." "What's different?" Zhang Lin asked. "Service." She looked at Zhang Lin confidently. "Come or not, come here today and you can have fun as you want." Zhang Lin looked at her small and pink lips, felt a little moved, and said in a slow tone, "Be good, postpone it until tomorrow." Ji Yutong was sulky and silent. Zhang Lin chuckled, knowing that she had already agreed. As a principled man, he wants a bowl of water to be balanced, one person for a day, and no one is allowed to mess with the rules. If you really don't want to wait, you can choose to go together. Zhang Lin has absolutely no objection. After returning home, Zhang Lin called everyone over and told his plan. "All our contribution points have been replaced by food, and they all exist with me. In the next few days, we will prepare for the zombie siege. If you can fight, fight back the zombie army. If you can't, be prepared to follow me." Quote, everyone agrees with Zhang Lin's choice. Even Ji Yutong, a longtime resident of Hope City, would not choose to fight to the death for Hope City. Others can only stay in Hope City because they cannot leave. They have Zhang Lin and have a way out. I just told you in advance to make preparations. That's it, Xiaoya and Xiaohui, you go and cook. The head of Zhang Lin's family was very imposing. After resting at home for a while and having dinner, Zhang Lin returned to the master bedroom on the second floor with An Qingge in his arms. "Zhang Lin, why don't you go and accompany Xiaowu? She just followed you yesterday." An Qingge said hesitantly. Of course she also hopes that Zhonglin can sleep next to her at night, but she also cares about her sister's mood. One day for each of you, it's fair and just. Zhonglin said with an upright face. I will go to Xiaowu's place in 2 days. If you are worried about her, just call her over and let's go together. You, what did you say? And Chingy's pretty face suddenly turned red from suppressing it. He called his sister over and together, what happened? Being interrupted by Zhonglin, she couldn't bring up the matter of asking Zhonglin to accompany in Qingwu. Then, she talked about Mu Xiaoya and Mu Xiaohui, the zombie siege is too dangerous. Over there, the twin sisters, can you hold on tight? After Qingge said this, a feeling of grievance suddenly surged into his heart. She actually took the initiative to urge Zhonglin to find another woman. However, she had no choice. In a crisis, anyone could die. She didn't want Zhonglin and her sisters to die, so she had to find a way to improve her strength. Well, Zhonglin hugged her, feeling the snow-white and delicate skin, and said helplessly, the main thing is to make them willing. If there is a little resistance in their hearts, they won't be able to get the reward, and I won't be able to do it either. Too much push. Hey, and Qingge leaned on Zhonglin's chest, feeling helpless, I'll have a chat with them tomorrow. Qingge, you are really my good wife. Zhonglin couldn't help but praise. And Qingge said nothing with some resentment. Who would be willing to be such a good housekeeper if possible? However, Zhonglin got the reward under these conditions, so she could only help Zhonglin. The two of them chatted with each other for a while, and Zhonglin couldn't help it anymore. And Qingge became pregnant, and Zhonglin was forced to become much gentler. However, and Qingge was really unbearable. Even though he became much gentler, it didn't take long for her to be defeated by Zhonglin's gentle offensive. All the resentment in my heart disappeared. The next day, Zhonglin did not leave Hope City, but went to number 5, delivered some supplies to Chen Zabo, and urged him to recruit people quickly. When zombies are sieging a city, it's always good to have a few more cannon fodder. Zhonglin went to look around Hope City during the day and saw that the zombie army had gathered. There were 4 zombie kings in total, and countless ordinary zombies. The dense zombies made me dizzy just looking at them. In the next 2 days, Zhonglin did not go out, and did not even need to go out to investigate the situation, because from inside Hope City, standing on a rooftop, he could see dense zombies surrounding Hope City. No one thought of escaping. There are more than just zombie kings. Now there are armies of zombies everywhere. I hope that there are at least enough people in the city and there is still a glimmer of life. If you are alone outside, unless you have Zhonglin's strength and a rich food reserve like him, you can't leave. The crowd is seeking death. In Hope City, under the order of the city lord, everyone gathered together for a simple training, and then distributed weapons, and everyone was ready for battle. The location chosen by the city lord to build Hope City was good. It was backed by mountains on 2 sides and faced water on the other side. In other words, everyone in Hope City could resist the zombie army as long as they held their ground. Zhonglin, Lu Dajiao suddenly came to the door. As the captain of Hope City, you must shoulder your responsibilities. The city lord has divided the city into 5 guard areas. You are responsible for leading people to guard the most important gate. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Zhonglin was a little confused. No, shouldn't the most powerful person be the captain of the first team? Why should I guard the gate? The boss hasn't arrived at Hope City yet. Lu Dajiao shrugged and said, if she doesn't come, you will be the highest-ranking person in Hope City besides the city lord. Of course, such an important place as the gate will be left to you. Quote. Zhonglin was puzzled. Is she so irresponsible? She doesn't even attend big events like a zombie siege. Lu Dajiao explained. It is said that she has an ex-boyfriend. Every time she reincarnates, she has to look for her ex-boyfriend first. If she really can't find him, she will come to Hope City. Sometimes she will rush back before the zombies siege the city. If you delay for a while, you will arrive after the zombie siege. Quote. Zhonglin was speechless and couldn't help complaining. How come you, the boss, are still a love brain? What kind of bullshit ex-boyfriend is it worth her trouble? Although it's not good to criticize the boss like this, I also want to say. Lu Dajiao also looked very distressed. I can't find it every time, I have to look for it every time, I don't know why she is so persistent. Lin was a little worried. He didn't want to guard the gate. If he was guarding somewhere else and the situation went bad, he could withdraw directly. But guarding the gate, the pressure would be too great and it would be difficult to evacuate if the situation went bad. What's that expression on your face? Don't you want to guard the gate? This is the best place to build merit. Lu Dajiao looked incomprehensible. He still wants to compete with Lin, hoping to kill more zombies and eventually make the city lord change his mind and let him return to the second position. And guarding the gate is a good job in his eyes. The door has a large loophole, which is where zombies mainly attack, and it is also the most suitable place to kill zombies. You like it? Lin glanced at him and said, how about giving it to you? In the past, when the boss didn't come, I was the one guarding the door. Do you think I can't do it? Lu Dajiao asked coldly and arrogantly. Okay, let's change. Where is your defense zone? Lin was so happy that he didn't expect anyone to be better at guarding the gate. Since you don't know how to cherish the opportunity, I won't be polite. Lu Dajiao sneered, I hope you won't regret it when you lose to me. Lin thought to himself, when did I agree to accept your challenge? I may not lose. Lin imitated his cold and arrogant tone and said lightly. Lu Dajiao just fell for this, and his fighting spirit suddenly became high. He turned and left without looking back. The zombie siege is coming soon. Go and familiarize yourself with your defense zone. The decisive battle between you and me. Here we go. Lin had goosebumps all over his body. He's almost 30, isn't he? Why is he so average? This question was asked by Ji Yutong. Don't talk about whether he hit the second or second place. Ji Yutong said with a sad face, I am now the captain of the 5th team and I have my own defense zone. What should I do? When she first became captain, she was quite happy when she thought about the power she would have in the future. But then she realized that being a captain not only brings power, but also responsibilities. She has never been a captain before, and she doesn't know. Your defense area is small. I will ask Qing Jie and Xiao Wu to follow you, and also ask Lao Chen and his people to follow you. Nothing will happen to you. Lin was helpless towards her. What about you? Everyone is following me, aren't you in danger? Ji Yutong finally had some conscience and started to worry about Lin. You have a conscience, Lin said angrily. My side is not the main defense area, and there are people from Hope City following me, so it's not a big problem. If possible, he still hopes that Hope City can be defended. After all, it is not easy to find such a suitable place to live. Considering that the City of Hope has survived to the new era in previous reincarnations, Lin feels that there should be no surprises this time. But considering that the zombie siege has become earlier this time and there are more zombie kings, Lin estimates that many people will die this time. But Lin and several women are all people who have awakened extraordinary templates, and their chances of survival are far higher than ordinary people. Not only does he have an extraordinary template, but he also has a yin and yang magic ring, and an infinite bullet pistol, which gives him a greater chance of survival. Therefore, he chose to put the rest of his strength on Ji Yutong's side. Next, Lin got familiar with his defense area. It was a fence wall. The city lord arranged nearly 1,000 people here and distributed weapons. They were all under Lin's command. Then I went to see Ji Yutong's defense area. She was the captain of the 5th team. She was the weakest and had the smallest defense area. It was a passage across the water. There are not many zombies in the waterway, but there will always be zombies coming from here to attack, so the city lord arranged for Ji Yutong to guard here, and at the same time arranged more than 200 people, also with weapons, under Ji Yutong's command. She also has sisters in Qingge and Qingwu, as well as Chen Zubo and a dozen of his newly recruited men, who are enough to guard the river and ensure the safety of the 3 of them. Hope outside the city. Looking around, there was no trace of a living person. Densely packed zombies are rushing towards Hope City like violent waves. In Hope City, the 5 major defense zones are all ready. The first defense zone is naturally the most important gate. Today, the gate is closed, and people behind the gate are holding spears, crossbows, improvised bombs and other weapons to guard the gate. The gate is made up of strong metal columns with gaps in the middle. Before the gate is breached, people standing behind the gate can use weapons to attack the zombies outside. As for the other defense zones, except for Ji Yutong's 5th defense zone, which is a river, the remaining 3 defense zones are all the walls of Hope City. The city wall is also made up of iron fences. This was the plan of the city lord before he built Hope City. It is at this time that people can stand behind the wall and attack zombies. Humanity's advantage lies in wisdom. If you don't use various tools to create advantages and simply fight zombies hand to hand, you are seeking death. Zhonglin's defense area is the 2nd defense area, which is the longest fence. In addition, the commanders of the other 2 defense areas are already in place. At the 1st defense area, the city lord and Lu Dajiao looked at the zombie army getting closer and closer outside, and glanced at the 2nd defense area aside. What did Zhonglin do at such a critical moment? The city lord was a little dissatisfied. The zombies are about to attack. As the commander of the 2nd defense zone, Zhonglin is not here. This is simply irresponsible. Maybe he has something more important than the zombie siege. Lu Dajiao was very willing to believe Zhonglin. Are you stupid? The city lord was almost mad at him. As soon as he fooled you, you took over the defense area that should have belonged to him, and now you still speak for him. I couldn't ask for more. The most dangerous place is the most suitable for me to establish meritorious deeds. Lu Dajiao showed a confident smile. The eyes under the silver-white mask of the city lord couldn't help but roll their eyes. He wanted to say something else, but Lu Dajiao pointed in a certain direction. Look, isn't he coming right now? The city lord turned around and saw Zhonglin slowly walking from a distance with a rosy complexion. He looked outside again and saw that the zombies were closer. At this time, he could already hear the roar of the zombies and smell the zombies. The rancid smell emanating from the body. Zhonglin also saw the city lord, waved his hand from a distance, and walked towards his defense area. City lord, you have to be a witness for us this time. If I kill more zombies than Zhonglin, you have to restore my 2nd position. Lu Dajiao said with high spirits. The city lord glanced at him and said, if you can kill 4 zombie kings, I will let you be the first. Lu Dajiao was silent for a moment and said helplessly, no, 2nd place will do. The boss is too violent. If I take her position, she won't know how to deal with me. Hey, Xiaoxia is not here again this time, otherwise, I would be much less stressed. When the 1st captain was mentioned, the city lord couldn't help but sigh. 2nd defense zone. Zhonglin returned to his position and promoted several team captains among his own people to facilitate his command. Then, he stood behind the fence wall and stared blankly at the zombies getting closer and closer. Not scared by zombies. Zhonglin thought about it and felt the urge to go back again. I can't think about it anymore. Looking at the zombies getting closer and closer outside, he shook his head. Think about the reward I just got. With this thing, I can say that I am invincible. After double the happiness, there is double the reward. This may be the reason why Zhonglin, Mu Xiaoya and Mu Xiaohui were together at the same time. Afterwards, Zhonglin asked them if they were willing to be his wives. After receiving a positive answer, their rewards were combined and distributed. Zhonglin didn't get the awakening gem he wanted, and the twin sisters couldn't awaken for the time being. However, he got a secret weapon. A Miao knife. As shown in the picture, the layman who adds money uses Miao Dao. The system reward at that time was a weapon embryo. Zhonglin could freely choose what kind of weapon it was. The Miao Dao is a traditional weapon of the Han nationality. It is called the Miao Dao because the blade is long and slender and resembles a grain seedling. Legend has it that it originated from the Wanshou Dao in the Han dynasty. Zhonglin didn't know much about cold weapons, but on the eve of the end of the world, he happened to see a popular science video about the Miao sword and learned that the Miao sword was more advanced among cold weapons and was powerful. Qi Jiguang in the Ming dynasty even used an improved Miao sword to defeat Japanese pirates. Therefore, he finally chose to turn the weapon embryo into a Miao Dao. The rewards of 2 people are combined into one weapon. This Miao knife is of course not that simple. This knife also has another characteristic. Netherworld. The Miao Dao has the power of the Netherworld. When it kills an enemy, it swallows the enemy's energy and spirit, permanently increasing the Miao Dao's power and providing a certain degree of recovery effect for the Miao Dao's owner. It's a bit like equipment with blood-sucking properties in the game. In this way, Zhonglin is basically not afraid of a protracted battle. With Miao Dao around, he can hardly reach exhaustion. Moreover, Miao Dao can also increase its power without limit. This weapon can be said to become stronger the more it is used. The ability to grow infinitely, no matter where it is placed, is extremely unnatural. Especially now that we are facing a zombie siege, the dense zombies are simply the best targets for sacrificing the sword. After a big battle, as long as Zhonglin does not die, the power of the Miao sword may increase to a terrifying level. Now, the Miao Dao has not been taken out in the system space, and Zhonglin is not in a hurry. He has already learned from Ji Yutong that in the early stage of the battle with zombies, there are not many opportunities for hand-to-hand combat, and the Miao Dao is of little use. I hope that the limited number of humans in the city are nothing compared to the seemingly endless army of zombies. The city lord will not choose to fight the zombies head-on. He has made a lot of preparations for today's zombie siege. There are dense explosives buried under the land outside the city. Now the city lord is waiting. When the zombies are crowded outside Hope City, he will detonate the explosives at once, so as to cause maximum damage. In Hope City, there are also explosives in the hands of people whom the city lord can trust. Although there are not many, the city lord will not order melee combat until these explosives are used up. Of course, no one dares to fight zombies. The task of the 5 major defense zones in the city, including Zhonglin, at this stage is to prevent scattered zombies from breaking into the city. After 2 rounds of explosives, while the zombie army is scattered, the real mission of the captains of the 5 defense zones comes. They must turn from defense to offense and immediately rush out to kill the zombie king and leave the zombie army leaderless. Normally, the zombie kings are very thieves, hiding in the center of the zombie army. If you want to kill them, you have to deal with the zombie army first, which is almost impossible. Only by taking advantage of the chaos caused by the 2 rounds of explosions can we take the opportunity to kill the Corpse King. After the raid, the situation completely got out of control. Zombies will flood into the city. Except for the current combatants in the 5 major defense zones, everyone in the city hopes to fight the zombies. At that time, it depends on whether the people in the 5 defense zones can kill the Corpse King. After killing the zombie king, the zombie army is out of control. Human beings can unite their forces, divide the battlefield, and clean up the zombies one by one. If the zombie king cannot be killed, the zombie army, under the command of the zombie king, will in turn divide the human race and eventually devour them all. Having already understood this process, Zhonglin was not in a hurry. Now is not the time for Miao Dao to see blood. Inside the iron fence wall, Zhonglin stood at the front, surrounded by dense crowds of people, and in front of him were even denser crowds of zombies. Most of the people who can join the defense zone are people who have awakened their memories and are very experienced in killing zombies. Some of them are also the city lord's confidants, holding explosives and other weapons in their hands. After all, it was a peaceful and stable society before the end of the world. Although the city lord had great hands and eyes, he couldn't get too many thermal weapons. He could get some explosives for mining, which was pretty good. There are also guns in Hope City, but there are very few, and the bullets are even more limited. In the end, you still have to fight the zombies to win by hand-to-hand combat. The zombies are getting closer. Someone screamed in fear. Although some people have experienced zombie sieges many times, facing this terrifying zombie army, they will still tremble with fear and their hands and feet will be cold. Captain Zhang, you have to be prepared. A man wearing a Hope City real estate uniform said. Captain Ji should have told you about the specific process, right? I know, you will detonate the explosives in a moment, and I will lead people to rush out and kill the Corpse King. Zhonglin said in a calm tone. That's good. The man holding the explosive detonation button nodded and said with some admiration, this is your first time experiencing a zombie siege, and you can be so calm. No wonder the city lord values you so much. Zhonglin didn't even want to answer this. He continued, I remember the first time I peed my pants. At that time, I just stared at the zombies outside. I was so dumbfounded. When the zombies came over, I wet my pants. Go fight with zombies. As soon as this statement came out, it resonated with everyone around him. Haha, who isn't? When I killed the first zombie, I completely lost consciousness. It wasn't until a zombie almost jumped into my face that I realized. A stout man who was appointed as the squad leader by Zhonglin, the man laughed. People around them started talking about it. The war was coming, and they used this to relieve the tension in their hearts. Zhang Lin remained silent, but a smile appeared on his face. It was quite interesting to listen to each guy talking about his embarrassing state. And his calm and relaxed attitude also infected many people and made many people relax. Suddenly, a huge voice sounded from the rear amplification equipment. The zombies are approaching. People in the major defense areas are ready to use the walls as a barrier. The zombies must be crowded together so that the explosives can cause maximum damage. Zhang Lin looked at the group of zombies outside the iron fence, took a deep breath, and shouted loudly to the people around him, "Be prepared, don't allow a zombie to rush in before the explosive explodes." Yes, this is a life and death crisis that everyone faces together. Even if they usually have all kinds of thoughts, at this moment they all turn into one idea: survive. Finally, the first zombie came into contact with the iron fence. It roared, squeezed its body into the gap in the iron fence, stretched out its arms, and attacked the people in the city. "Die to me." The squad leader with a rough face swung his knife and cut off the zombie's arm, and then stabbed the zombie's eye socket with the knife. The zombie that tried to squeeze in through the fence died. However, the death of a zombie has no impact at all on the zombie army. The zombie army from behind rushed over one after another, as if they wanted to break through the steel wall with their bodies. When the city lord built the City of Hope, he had already prepared for today. The gap between the fence and the iron wall is very small, and a complete zombie cannot get in. The iron wall is also very high, and a single zombie cannot get in at all. Zhang Lin led all the people in the second defense zone to wave their weapons behind the iron fence and kill zombies from the gaps. However, this kind of slashing has no effect on the zombie army. If one zombie dies, 3 or even 5 zombies will come back. Dead zombies will also become stepping stones for other zombies. As the zombie corpses accumulate, the position of the zombie at the front will become higher and higher. It didn't take long for the zombies in the front row to climb in from the top of the iron fence. At this moment, Zhang Lin was a little nervous. The zombies fell down. Suddenly, someone yelled in fear. It turned out that there were layers upon layers outside, and the zombies in the front row had been pushed to the top of the iron fence by the zombies behind, and then rolled into the city. After the zombies came in, they were immediately hacked to death with random knives. "Captain Zhang, he was caught by zombies." A young man pointed at his companions in horror. The infectious power of zombies is very terrifying. A small wound can turn a person into a zombie in 10 minutes. "Captain Zhang, it's just a small wound." The person caught by the zombies looked horrified. "Kill him, otherwise when he turns into a zombie, it will have a greater impact on us," someone suggested. People around him expressed their opinions one after another. They are all old men, so they will not show mercy at this time. "Captain Zhang, the person caught by the zombies pleaded, "It's just a small wound, it'll be fine." He is also an experienced person. If it were anyone else, he would definitely suggest killing him, but he was the one who was caught by the zombies. "I won't kill you," Zhang Lin suddenly spoke, and everyone around him was surprised. Who doesn't know that Zhang Lin is a ruthless person, so why is he soft-hearted now? The person caught by the zombies suddenly showed a surprised look. Thank you, Captain Zhang. You are going to die anyway, why not make some contribution to everyone?" Zhang Lin pointed to a place that was broken through by zombies, where more than a dozen zombies had already entered. "You go over now and kill a few more zombies. Your death is not in vain." "Captain Zhang, Everyone else was dumbfounded. The people around him also showed surprised expressions. "Are you the big capitalist? Squeeze out every last drop of value before you die, right?" Zhang Lin said coldly. "I'm just giving you a suggestion. If you don't go, I will kill you now. If you go, you can make more contributions to us. You can choose for yourself." I'll go." The man gritted his teeth, turned around and ran towards the zombie group. "If you don't go, you will die." Instead of letting Zhang Lin hack him to death, it is better to kill a few more zombies. "You guys, follow him and let him take the first wave of damage. You take the opportunity to wipe out this wave of zombies." Zhang Lin pointed to a few people around him. Yes, several people responded and immediately followed. Zhang Lin, on the other hand, continued to lead everyone to clean up the zombies nearby. The pressure on the other side of the gate was even greater. Lu Dajiao was holding a long-handled knife and wearing simple protective gear. He rushed to the front and slashed wildly. He was covered in blood, but not a drop was his own. Kill. The more you kill, the more you can regain my position. I can't beat the boss, I can't beat the city lord, and I can't beat you, Zhonglin. With this idea in mind, Lu Dajiao became more and more courageous as he fought. On the other side of the 5th defense zone, and Qingge and Ji Yutong stood on the edge of the river, staring at the water flowing slowly along the river. At the beginning, when everyone else was fighting zombies, it was very quiet here, but as time went by, maybe some smart zombies really discovered this waterway, and they actually jumped into the river and followed the river. Drifted into Hope City. Kill the enemy. And Qingge, with long hair flying and a red tasseled spear in hand, stood at the front and calmly issued the order. Although Ji Yutong is said to be the captain here, it is Qingge who actually gives the order. No one present was dissatisfied. After all, Ji Yutong listened to her. And Qingge gave an order, and the people on the shore began to attack with various long-range weapons such as long-handled weapons and crossbows. The zombies were originally not good at fighting in the water, but now they have become living targets. Before they even landed, they were killed by the people on the shore. But as time went by, more and more zombie corpses accumulated in the river. The zombies that came later were already stepping on the corpses of their companions, almost like running in on land. The real crisis in the 5th defense zone has come. Kill. The Onqing singer held a spear and rushed to the front. Her slender figure had a heroic air at this time. If I use an idiom to describe it, the word heroic is the most suitable word. Others followed her, especially Chen Zubo and others. He led the men he recruited and followed, and Qingge risking his life. After all, this is the big boss's woman. If something happens to her and the big boss gets angry, who can bear it? Already. Of course, and Qingge didn't want to reveal her true strength now, otherwise, these zombies wouldn't be able to hurt her at all. And Qingwu and Ji Yutong were positioned further behind. After all, they were positioned as auxiliaries, and there was no need to rush to the front to kill the enemy at this time. Ji Yutong stared at Qingge, ready to put a Shengyao shield on her at any time. And Qingwu wanted to sing a song about fighting against the enemy, to give everyone a buff. But her sister had told her not to reveal her strength until the critical moment, so she could only give up and grab a knife and follow the crowd to make soy sauce. When the people in the 5th defense zone saw Qingge charging so fiercely, they all followed suit. For a while, the 5th defense zone turned out to be the defense zone with the highest fighting spirit. Over there in the 2nd defense zone, the pressure is really increasing. More and more zombies poured into Hope City from the top of the iron fence. The thousands of people led by Zhonglin were exhausted, clearing away zombies everywhere, resulting in many casualties. He could see the situation in the 1st defense area from here, and it was even worse over there. The door was broken through by zombies, and there were several big holes, and zombies poured in like running water. Idiot! The wall is down, someone yelled. Zhonglin looked over and was shocked. The zombie army was squeezing people, and the zombies in the front row were squeezed into pulp. Under this huge force, the entire iron fence wall was crushed. Why hasn't the city lord detonated the explosive yet? Zhonglin cursed angrily. Just as he finished speaking, the loudspeaker at the rear sounded, 10 seconds countdown, everyone will find bunkers to avoid the explosion shock wave. Coming. After detonating the explosives, it's the final battle. Zhonglin dodged and hid behind a wall. The loudspeaker at the back read the numbers word by word. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Boom. A huge explosion sounded. In an instant, the zombies' broken limbs and flesh and blood covered the sky. Rocks flew everywhere. Zhonglin only felt his head buzzing. He leaned against the wall and felt the huge explosion. The aftermath of the impact shook the walls to the point of collapse. Immediately afterwards, there were several scattered explosions. The city lord's men were cleaning up the scattered zombies. When he heard this sound, Zhonglin was already ready. He took out the Miao Dao from the space. It was a Miao Dao about 160 centimeters long and weighing about 20 kilograms. The overall lines were smooth and sharp, and it also moved freely. It has a dark and cold atmosphere. This Bingdao was made by Zhonglin. The longest Miao sword in ancient times was only 1.6 meters, and the weight was only 3 or 4 kilograms. But with his 20 kilograms, ordinary people would lose the strength after swinging a few swords, and could not fight for a long time. But for Zhong Lin, it is not a problem, the weight is the damage. Strength. His own physical fitness is extremely high, coupled with the recovery effect of Miao Dao Netherworld, he can fight a protracted battle. The long sword without a sheath appeared directly in Zhong Lin's hand. He faced the remaining aftermath of the explosion, ducked out of the area behind the wall, and rushed out. Where did he get the knife from? Several people following Zhong Lin looked at each other and asked questions. Zhong Lin has been here for so long, and no one has seen him with weapons. And it's such a long knife. But now there is no time to think so much. As Zhong Lin took the lead in charging, everyone followed him. This is the time to fight desperately. If you don't take advantage of the opportunity to kill the Corpse King will come to kill him soon. They are. The same goes for other defense areas. Under the leadership of each captain, everyone rushed out. And the residents in Hope City, except for those who were really too timid to go out, everyone else also rushed out. At this moment, no one needs to mobilize at all. Anyone with a brain knows that if you don't kill the zombies desperately now, you will be the one who will die soon. Lu Dajiao took the lead. His weapon was a bit like the Qinglong Yanyu sword, even more fancy than Guan Era's sword. He also gave this weapon a very sultry name, Lengan Sa. Well, I just used the nickname of Qinglong Yanyu sword. He was already strong, and he had used potions to enhance his strength. At this moment, he was swinging a big knife like a wheel spinning, airtight, and any zombie that came close to him would be cut into several pieces. Ha ha ha. Lu Dajiao completely lost his usual composure at this time. He was laughing wildly. When he rushed out a few dozen meters and paused for a while, his back had turned into a bloody road paved with the flesh and blood of zombies. As soon as he turned his head, he saw Zhong Lin rushing out. Zhong Lin is holding a Miao Dao. Although the Miao Dao has a slender blade, it is not short in length. It is 1.6 meters taller than some people. Zhong Lin holds the handle with both hands. Every time he swings the knife, he can directly chop a zombie into two. Half. That knife. Lu Dajiao glanced at it and was a little frightened by Miao Dao. For some reason, he felt that Miao Dao was more arrogant than his own cold saw. The shape of the knife was nothing, but Miao Dao had a unique cold aura, it obviously looks ordinary. He was dissatisfied and shouted, Zhong Lin, although weapons are important, the most important thing is the person who uses them. Just watch, I will prove that I am better than you today. After shouting, Lu Dajiao rushed out again brandishing his sword. This time, his target was pointed at a Corpse King in the distance. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Zhong Lin's head was full of questions. What did you say? You didn't even look at him, why did he suddenly go crazy? But at this time, Zhong Lin had no time to care about Lu Dajiao's mental state. When he saw Lu Dajiao choosing a target, he followed him. The originally dense army of terrifying zombies was blown apart by explosives. A large area was killed, and a large number of broken arms and legs were lost. A large area was left between the Zombie King and everyone in Hope City. This time is a good time to kill the Corpse King. Although the Zombie King is positioned as the commander of the zombie army and has high intelligence, they are also very powerful. It is difficult for Zhong Lin to kill them alone. The most important thing to do at this time is to concentrate on clearing out the Corpse Kings one by one. It is better to cut off one finger than to hurt the enemy's 5 fingers. This is a truth that all Chinese people understand. Kill. Everyone let out a deafening roar. Zhong Lin wielded the slender Miao knife in his hand and could take away at least one zombie every time. Sometimes, with one strike of his knife, 3 zombies were cut in half at the same time. The people in the 5th defense area followed Zhong Lin. Seeing how brave Zhong Lin was, they also accelerated their speed. At this time, there was less than 20 meters away from the Corpse King. Roar! The Corpse King also saw the people charging towards him. It looked at everyone with its red eyes, then picked up a few zombies from the ground with 2 giant hands and threw them directly towards everyone. Lu Dajiao had just killed 2 more zombies, but he didn't pay attention to his head and was knocked to the ground by a zombie. Zhong Lin, on the other hand, reacted more quickly. After he saw the flying zombie, he drew back his sword and struck. The flying zombie immediately broke into two halves and fell heavily to the ground. The people behind Zhang Lin were not so lucky. Zombies flew in, and they were caught off guard. Two of them were knocked down by the zombies, and the others hurriedly avoided before they could reasonably kill the zombies that were thrown over. This corpse king is so smart. Lu Dajiao angrily hammered the zombie that fell on his head to death, then stood up, only to see that Zhang Lin was not affected at all and had rushed to the vicinity of the corpse king. "I'll let you win a small game." He picked up his cold saw and shouted to the people behind him, "Come with me, this corpse king must be killed by our first defense zone." The people behind are a little speechless. It's time now. As long as you can kill the corpse king, who cares who kills him? Although they were cursing in their hearts, everyone speeded up to keep up. On the side of the corpse king, Zhang Lin held the handle of the knife without any skill and waved it hard. 7 or 8 zombies in front of him were cut in half at the same time. Then, he rushed forward again, finally breaking through all obstacles and facing the corpse king face to face. In the distance, other zombie kings also noticed the situation here. They directed the zombie army to surround them, and they themselves followed the zombie army. There is not much time left for Zhang Lin and others, they must kill the corpse king as soon as possible. The corpse king lowered his head and looked at this tiny human being. He roared angrily and smashed down his fists like hammers angrily. A little human being dares to face himself alone. Rumble. It seemed that the sound was louder than the explosion of explosives just now. The corpse king's fists hit the ground. Zhang Lin nimbly dodged over. The corpse king raised his fists again, leaving 2 large fist-shaped holes on the ground. After dodging the zombie king's fists, Zhang Lin returned with a knife, which happened to hit the corpse king's calf. There was a muffled pop sound, and the blade of the knife penetrated into the zombie's decaying flesh. Then he drew the knife out, and the corpse dark green liquid began to leak out from Wang's calf. "Ah!" The corpse king roared angrily. The injury on his calf had no effect on it at all. Instead, it sped up and punched Zhang Lin again. The punch was so fierce that Zhang Lin could not dodge it. He could only raise one arm and control the blade of the knife against his arm with the other hand to withstand the blow. Boom! Zhang Lin flew directly backwards, a full dozen meters away. After landing, he was surrounded by a large group of zombies. "Go rescue Zhang Lin first." Lu Dajiao took a look from a distance and immediately changed the direction. Although he regarded Zhang Lin as a competitor and was very unconvinced, he would never see Zhang Lin die like this. He just wanted to win in an honest way. Pass Zhang Lin. But when Lu Dajiao and his men arrived, Zhang Lin had already stood up. Those ferocious zombies did not pose any threat to him. When they flew out, his sword was still in his hand. After he rolled to his feet, he immediately slashed several times. I don't know how many zombies were killed, and a large area of empty space suddenly appeared around him. Lu Dajiao had just arrived and saw Zhang Lin killing zombies like a god of war, chopping melons and vegetables. "What are you doing here?" Zhang Lin cleaned up the zombies next to him, turned around and saw Lu Dajiao, and asked in confusion. "Well," Lu Dajiao looked up at the sky and held it in for several seconds before saying, "I plan to attack the corpse king in a roundabout way from this direction, can you take care of it?" After saying that, he snorted coldly, turned around and rushed towards the corpse king. He was embarrassed to say that he was here to save Zhang Lin. "There's something wrong." Zhang Lin was a little confused, then followed Lu Dajiao and rushed towards the corpse king. At this time, people from several other defense areas also came out. Seeing that Zhang Lin and Lu Dajiao had selected targets, they all rushed over. They all have the same idea, first concentrate on killing a zombie king. "Zhang Lin, let me help you." And Qingge led the people from the 5th defense area to join Zhang Lin. After hearing the explosion, she ignored the river and rushed directly towards the outside of the city. The zombies coming in from the river will be dealt with by other people in Hope City, and her goal is to help Zhang Lin. Accompanying in Qingge were in Qingwu and Ji Yutong, as well as Chen Zubo and several of his subordinates. "Follow me." Zhang Lin held the knife in both hands and quickly rushed towards the corpse king. He jumped up and pierced the corpse king's abdomen with the knife. However, the corpse king was too big. After the knife penetrated its abdomen, it did not cause fatal injuries to the corpse king. It only scratched the flesh and fat of the Corpse King. The nether meow knife was very sharp, like a hot table knife cutting butter. Zhong Lin slid the knife directly from the Corpse King's abdomen, causing a very terrifying wound to it. If it were a person, this kind of injury would definitely be a disaster, but for the Corpse King, this zombie is not harmful at all. Zhong Lin, you hit the wrong place, look at me. Seeing his defeat, Lu Dajiao couldn't help laughing proudly. Then, he jumped with all his strength and was even with the zombie's head. Then, he used all his strength to cut it down with one knife. Click. This knife cut directly into the skull of the Corpse King. The Qinglong Yanyu sword got stuck in the bone seam of the Corpse King. Lu Dajiao held the knife in both hands and hung in the air. Roar! The Corpse King stretched out his big hand and grabbed Lu Dajiao. Lu Dajiao had no choice but to let go of the handle of the knife, and he fell to the ground, with the knife still stuck on the Corpse King's head. After Lu Dajiao landed on the ground, he rolled a few more times to avoid the Corpse King's stampede. After reaching a safe distance, his expression was a bit ugly. He was too pretentious just now, and his strength was not well controlled. Now he is better, and his weapon is gone. However, he didn't have time to worry about his weapons now. As soon as he dodged a blow, the Corpse King stepped towards him again. The Corpse King is 7 or 8 meters tall, and its weight is estimated to be 7 or 8 tons. It does not need weapons at all, it is the largest weapon in itself. If Lu Dajiao was stepped on with this foot, Zhong Lin would think he was awesome if he could leave a whole body. Lu Dajiao stared at the Corpse King with all his concentration. When the Corpse King stepped on him, he quickly dodged. Zhong Lin took the opportunity to slash the Corpse King's lower leg directly with his knife. This knife cut directly into the Corpse King's bones. That is to say, the nether meow knife was sharp enough and strong enough. This knife directly cut off half of the Corpse King's calf bone. It staggered and fell to its knees in an instant. Take advantage of his illness to kill him. Zhong Lin immediately called on everyone to attack the Corpse King. Originally, the people who came to support had no way to deal with the huge zombie king. They could only help Zhong Lin and Lu Dajiao clean up the surrounding zombies and create a fighting space for the two of them. At this time, Zhong Lin almost cut off the Corpse King's calf with a knife. The Corpse King's ability to move was greatly restricted, and everyone finally found the opportunity to take action. Gasoline. Pour gasoline on the Corpse King and get the remaining explosives. Zhong Lin and a group of people entangled the Corpse King, and on the other side began to order the city lord's men to prepare. This was all planned before. As a human being, of course it is impossible to fight against the Corpse King recklessly. We still have to use the available tools. The guy who was responsible for detonating the explosives ran over immediately. A group of people poured gasoline on the Corpse King, while others continued to contain the Corpse King. Lu Dajiao hadn't gotten back his knife yet, and was worried on the side, watching helplessly as Zhong Lin led his men to deal with the Corpse King, unable to move up and hit the Corpse King with 2 punches. This Corpse King was killed. It was obviously Zhong Lin's fault. I lost another round, he thought in frustration, and at the same time, he was thinking, Zhong Lin killed one before, so this one can be considered a winner. He killed, I have to kill 3 Corpse Kings to surpass him, this. A total of 4 Corpse Kings came, and now this one is about to be killed, so there are only 3 left. In other words, if he wants to defeat Zhong Lin, he must kill all the remaining 3 Corpse Kings. Everyone, stay back. Seeing that the zombies had been doused with gasoline, Zhong Lin immediately retreated with the people he was dealing with, while the city lord's men lit the explosive packs in their hands and threw them towards the Corpse King. There was a boom. After the explosion, the flames suddenly rose up and lit up everyone's faces. The Corpse King roared wildly, its arms like pendulums frantically turning any objects around it into pieces, but it only had 1 leg and moved slowly. Except for the 2 unlucky ghosts who had no time to avoid being beaten to death, the rest of the people were killed. Evacuated to a safe location. The reason why I didn't use gasoline and explosives to deal with the Corpse King before was because the Corpse King at that time had the ability to move, and gasoline and explosives might not be delivered to it. Moreover, even if it was really set alight, it would be crazy and indistinguishable. No one can bear the attack. To deal with the Corpse King, either cut off its head and kill it with 1 blow. Or, First destroy its ability to move, and then use flames to burn it to ashes. What Zhonglin is doing now is the second type. Don't worry about this one, go kill the others. Zhonglin saw that the flames on the Corpse King were getting stronger and stronger, so he issued a new order. No one around him would disobey him. Not to mention Zhonglin's identity, just talk about Zhonglin's bravery in killing the zombies and his contribution to challenging the Corpse King alone and destroying the Corpse King's ability to move. No one present would be dissatisfied. Just at this time, 3 other Corpse Kings also gathered around. Zhonglin knew that the 3 Corpse Kings could not be allowed to reunite, so he shouted, "Expand the battlefield and give me some space." He gave the order, and the people around him immediately began to disperse in all directions, gathering in 2s and 3s to fight the surrounding zombies. Killing a Corpse King is so laborious. If these 3 are united, even if Zhonglin uses all his strength, he will not be a match. Zombie King on the left, follow me. Those who went to clean up the ordinary zombies were all of relatively average strength. People with some strength did not move because they knew that their task was more difficult. Zhonglin shouted, and the 3rd Captain Lu Dajiao, the current 4th Captain Zhou Weibing, and several of their elite men followed him. Before Lu Dajiao left, he reluctantly glanced at the burning Corpse King. His arrogant Qinglong Yanyu sword was still hanging on the Corpse King's head. Unfortunately, the Corpse King is now in a crazy state, and he dare not approach it at all. Moreover, as the flames burn, the temperature near the Corpse King is very high, making it impossible for normal humans to get close. Following Zhonglin were Qingge, Ji Yutong, and Qingwu, Chen Zubo and several of his men. In the eyes of Lu Dajiao and Zhou Weibing, and Qingge and others are a burden, but considering that these are Zhonglin's people, they can't say anything. A group of people chopped down the zombies that blocked their way forward, and broke through to the second Zombie King. The Corpse King roared, first ordering the zombies around him to consume the physical strength of Zhonglin and others, and then he rushed forward angrily, wanting to hammer Zhonglin and others to death. After Zhonglin had already had an experience, he commanded everyone very familiarly this time. He was not in a hurry to cause harm to the Corpse King, but to find ways to destroy the Corpse King's ability to move. As long as the Corpse King was incapacitated, he would be able to do so. Randomly attacked with gasoline and bombs. Just when Zhonglin unknowingly became the commander of the entire battlefield, the city lord on a high ground in Hope City was also watching him. Xiao Xia is strong but not good at leadership. Xiao Lu is strong enough to work and can convince the crowd, but his character is flawed. Xiao Zhou, Xiao Li and Xiao Luo before him are all just making up the numbers, needless to say. The city lord murmured, "Now it seems that Zhonglin has the potential to become the person I want." "City lord, are you so optimistic about him?" An old man beside him said in confusion. Zhonglin has never awakened his memory, which means that he has not performed well in previous reincarnations. Anyone familiar with Hope City knows that this old man's name is Wu Jiwi, and he is the city lord's staff. He handles all the chores in Hope City on weekdays, and is the city lord's true confidant. Awakening or not awakening memories doesn't mean anything, the city lord said calmly. As the person with the most awakened memories, he has a clearer understanding of awakened memories. In fact, I have touched some patterns of awakening memory. Really? What's the pattern? Wu Jiwi asked curiously. It's very simple. When you awaken your memory, what counts is not your strength, but how long you survive. The city lord smiled faintly, like Xiaoji, I have known her in previous lives. She has no strength, but she is lucky. She can meet people who can protect her at every stage, so she survives to the end, and after the new reincarnation begins, she can awaken a little memory. Wu Jiwi touched the few beards on his chin. He had experienced the apocalypse several times before. He was old and frail and had little fighting ability, but he could survive. Therefore, he could live for a long time until the human race was completely extinct, the world restarted, and a new reincarnation began. At that time, he can awaken certain memories. It seems that it is exactly what the city lord said. The longer you live, the more memories you awaken. The city lord sighed quietly. People like me who have lived to the end and have seen the greatest horror can almost awaken their memories several years before the end of the world. That's why I can plan to build a city of hope. As the city lord's confidant, Wu Jiwi naturally knew the city lord's purpose of building Hope City. Reincarnation after reincarnation, People like the city lord already know that he cannot survive the new era on his own, because if he could survive it, with the blessing of so many memories, he would have survived it long ago. Therefore, the city lord has been looking for new variables. At present, it seems that Zhonglin is the variable. The city lord had no memory of Zhonglin before, which proved that Zhonglin was a nobody in the past, but in this life, Zhonglin appeared and showed his potential. This is the hope that the city lord is pursuing. This is why the city lord values Zhonglin. It is precisely because Zhonglin has not awakened his memory that you value him so much. I understand. Wu Jihui, who understood this, nodded suddenly, but, if you change your main training the target, Captain Shaw, she. Speaking of the first captain, Wu Jihui thought of a woman with an extremely cold face. She always seemed to have no emotions at all. In her eyes, everyone was like a stupid dog. Of course Xiaosha will be dissatisfied. After all, this is about the ownership of countless resources. The narrow eyes under the city lord's mask narrowed slightly, but isn't this better? Only through cruel competition can we choose the strong man who can lead mankind through the new era. But, Captain Shaw and Captain Zhang both have great potential. Wu Jihui hesitated slightly. Can you control their competition a little to avoid internal friction? No need. In this world, the more brutal the competition, the more truly strong people can be cultivated. The city lord said coldly. Wu Jihui was secretly frightened, thinking that Hope City would not be peaceful in the future. At the same time, he also secretly regretted that one of the two strong men was destined to perish. How sad it was. But he didn't dare to refute the city lord, so he looked outside the city and changed the subject. City lord, look, Captain Zhang has killed another corpse king. Chapter 71. Battlefield. Zhonglin chopped off both of the corpse king's feet. The corpse king was forced to kneel on the ground, unable to move freely and could only crawl on the ground struggling. The same old trick, pour gasoline and light explosives. The corpse king burst into flames. Awesome, Captain Zhang is mighty. Everyone cheered one after another, and even the people cleaning up ordinary zombies in the distance also made cheerful sounds. In the past, without a strong player like Zhonglin, although Hope City could kill the corpse king, many people would die. Especially this time, 4 zombie kings appeared unprecedentedly. Many people felt desperate and felt that this time the City of Hope would not be able to survive the biohazard. But I didn't expect that Zhonglin was so powerful that he could confront the corpse king head-on, and twice destroyed the corpse king's ability to move, allowing the city lord's men to kill the corpse king with ease twice. This time, because of Zhonglin's presence, many people in Hope City would die less. Stop talking nonsense and move on to the next one. Zhonglin was also a little annoyed. He was fighting on the battlefield, how could he go home and sleep comfortably with his wife in his arms? He quickly finished the 4 corpse kings and went home to experience the twin sisters again. With this idea in mind, Zhonglin immediately led people to find the next corpse king. But the corpse king is wise. Previously, the corpse king was distracted by others and led to other places, which gave Zhonglin every opportunity to defeat him. But now, seeing 2 of their companions dead, the remaining 2 corpse kings no longer fight alone, but join forces. They moved closer in one direction, and at the same time, the zombies near them began to attack everyone desperately, thereby hindering humans and creating opportunities for them to meet up. Zhonglin, are you okay? Lu Dajiao had already taken back his Qinglong Yanyu sword, and he said proudly, 1 for you and 1 for me. Watching Zhonglin kill 2 zombies in succession, Lu Dajiao felt that Zhonglin was not killing zombies, but himself. People were cheering and shouting Zhonglin's name. And me, where is I, Lu Dajiao? Oh, my knife got stuck on the head of the first corpse king, and it has been soy sauce since then. This feeling of being left out made Lu Dajiao feel more uncomfortable than killing himself. No, with such a good opportunity and such a crucial decisive battle, Zhonglin can't just let Zhonglin pretend. Ahem. No, Zhonglin can't just let Zhonglin enjoy the glory alone. You have to share some of it too. Lu Dajiao made up his mind and decided to use his trump card and rely on his own strength to kill a corpse king alone. No matter what, this honor must belong to him. Are you okay? Zhonglin looked at Lu Dajiao with some suspicion. Humph, just look at it. Lu Dajiao snorted coldly, turned around and rushed towards the corpse king. As he approached, He took out a syringe and pierced it directly into his thigh, pushing the medicine into his body, and then ignored the needle. Still stuck in the leg, he just leapt directly and slashed towards the Corpse King as before. Tisk, cruel man. Zhong Lin didn't pay attention to how he fought with the Corpse King, focusing entirely on the syringe on his thigh. The needle was inserted into the muscle, and a syringe was hanging from it. Doesn't it really hurt? Facing the attacking Lu Dajiao, the Corpse King punched him directly. Lu Dajiao's blood was boiling, his muscles were bulging, his veins were popping out, and his strength was greatly increased. He ignored it and faced the Corpse King's huge fist, slashing him with one blow. Down. Kaka. The sound of cracking bones resounded, and part of the bones of the Corpse King's hand was cut off by him. The sound of breaking bones resounded in everyone's ears. He's sick, why don't you cut off his legs? Zhong Lin cursed silently, then looked at everyone. I'll leave this Corpse King to him. Follow me. Lu Dajiao's strength surged at this time, and he was extremely fast and flexible. He was like a monkey jumping up and down next to an elephant, constantly causing damage to the Corpse King. Although these wounds were not fatal, at least, he successfully entangled him. A Corpse King. Now Zhong Lin can copy the previous routine and deal with the Corpse King relatively easily. He fought with the Corpse King, constantly attacking the Corpse King's lower body. When his physical strength was not enough, he killed 2 zombies to recover, and then continued to attack the Corpse King. After a while, under Zhong Lin's repeated attacks, the Corpse King's ankle, which had been cut many times, finally broke. With a bang, the huge body fell down. The Corpse King struggled to get up, but his movements were greatly restricted. Zhong Lin was able to perform better. After a moment, he cut off the Corpse King's other leg. Now, it can only crawl on the ground. Gasoline, dynamite. After giving the order, Zhong Lin looked towards Lu Dajiao. The battle over there was even more fierce. Lu Dajiao was covered in blood, while the Corpse King was covered in wounds so densely that Zhong Lin almost had a phobia. The most injured part of the Corpse King was its head, especially its neck. Lu Dajiao just stared at its neck. Now, the Corpse King's neck was missing half of its flesh and blood, and its neck bones could be seen with the naked eye. He is cruel. Zhong Lin sighed, and then prepared to go over to help. Unexpectedly, Lu Dajiao was staring at him all the time during the battle. Seeing that he was coming, Lu Dajiao instantly accelerated his attack speed. You have to pretend this by yourself. Die. Lu Dajiao gritted his teeth and flew towards the Corpse King's neck. The Corpse King was 7 or 8 meters tall. Every time he attacked the Corpse King's head, it was particularly troublesome. He had to jump high, but he just attacked the Corpse King's head every time, head and neck. Under his desperate attack, the Corpse King's neck bone made a breaking sound and suddenly fell. The last bit of flesh could not withstand the force of the head's falling, and was torn apart. Then the Corpse King's head suddenly fell to the ground. Lu Dajiao landed on the ground, inserted the blade into the soil, and held the handle of the knife with both hands. Without support, he might not be able to stand. Although it cost a lot, Lu Dajiao was very happy. He finally killed a zombie king alone. Moreover, he was killed by beheading him. Zhong Lin happened to come over, and he immediately cleared the weak expression on his face, steeled himself, and showed an arrogant smile. How about it? I'm not bad either, right? Quote. Zhong Lin wanted to say, if you have this time, you can find a way to cut off the Corpse King's legs. We are sending gasoline and explosives here, so you won't be so tired at all. But he didn't say it. He has realized that he and Lu Dajiao may not be from the same world. So, Zhong Lin gave him a thumbs up. You are awesome, super awesome, I admire you so much. When Lu Dajiao heard this, he couldn't hold back any longer. The corners of his mouth raised uncontrollably, and then his head became dizzy and he fell directly to the ground. Quote. Zhong Lin, find a place to place this guy. Zhong Lin had no choice but to call Chen Zubo and ask him to transport Lu Dajiao back to the rear. Others, follow me to clean up the zombies in the city. The Zombie King just came here. He didn't kill many ordinary zombies. Now that there is no threat from the Zombie King, he can just increase the power of the wave of Miao swords. Zhong Lin held knives in both hands and rushed towards the place with the most zombies. A strange color flashed in Chingy's eyes. She knows Zhang Lin. According to normal circumstances, now that all the corpse kings have been killed and the existence that is dangerous to him has disappeared, what he is most likely to do is to go home, either to find himself or to find someone else, and together do something happy. You can't kill zombies hard anyway. But now, since Zhang Lin has done this, there must be a reason. She looked at the weapon in Zhang Lin's hand and seemed to have some understanding. She had never seen that Miao Dao before. It was probably a reward for killing Mu Xiaoya and Mu Xiaohui. It might also have the characteristic of becoming more powerful the more it kills. Guessing this in his mind, and Qingge turned back to his sister and Ji Yutong and said, "Let's follow Zhang Lin and provide him with support." The three girls followed immediately. Far away, the city lord stood with his hands behind his hands, looking where Zhang Lin was. He could see Zhang Lin fighting bloody battles, killing zombies one after another. And Qingge fought side by side with him, while Qingwu and Ji Yutong followed him to check for his mistakes and fill in the gaps. It seems that Zhang Lin is not as withdrawn and inhumane as I thought. Look, isn't he cleaning up zombies for Hope City now? Wu Jihui also stroked his beard, feeling a little relieved. Before, I thought that Zhang Lin had a lone wolf personality, which is why he was so murderous. Now it seems that it must be because he first arrived in Hope City and had no memories of the past, so he had no sense of belonging to Hope City. That's why he behaved so coldly and inhumanely. Now, he has lived in Hope City for a period of time and finally has a sense of belonging to Hope City, so he started to take the initiative to do things for Hope City. The city lord nodded slightly. Yes, I was a little worried before. Although Zhang Lin is powerful and has the wisdom and courage to be a leader, his personality is too withdrawn and has no sense of responsibility, so he is not suitable to be a human leader. But now it seems that before his performance is nothing more than distrust of us. The two chatted word by word, feeling like they had completely understood Zhang Lin's character. If Zhang Lin were here, he would probably be confused. If it weren't for sacrificing the knife, he would rather go home and sleep with his twin sisters. Who would want to work hard to kill zombies? But he didn't expect that his behavior would turn Zhang Lin into a responsible person in the eyes of the city lord and Wu Jihui. At this time, Zhang Lin was frantically killing zombies. As the number of zombies he killed increased, the power of the netherworld Miao Dao became more and more powerful. First of all, the sharpness. Now the Miao Dao is so sharp that Zhang Lin can directly cut off the bones of zombies with almost no effort. The strength and toughness of the blade are also increasing. This aspect has not been reflected yet, but Zhang Lin estimates that the strength of this knife is probably stronger than modern alloys. Another knife cut the zombie in half alive. As a stream of warm air poured into his body, Zhang Lin's tired body seemed to be soaked in a hot spring, and his fatigue was instantly relieved. At the same time, Zhang Lin also felt that Miao Dao had undergone a strange change. Hiss! A zombie rushed towards him from behind. And Qingge shot the zombie directly in the eye socket, killing the zombie instantly. But Zhang Lin still struck with his backhand and chopped off the zombie's head. After he was done, he went to check on the corpses of the zombies. I saw a cold power attached to the wound made by the zombie with the Miao knife. The power of the underworld. Zhang Lin murmured to himself. The Miao Dao absorbed enough power and evolved for the first time. Now the Miao Dao's blade is equipped with the power of the netherworld. If it causes damage to a creature, the power of the netherworld will attach to the wound of the creature, preventing the wound from healing itself. At the same time, the netherworld power will continue to destroy and expand the wound. This is a vicious move, I like it. He nodded with satisfaction. And Qingge saw him smiling, and for some reason, his face couldn't help but curve. Then he stood next to him, holding a red tassel spear, constantly attacking the zombies nearby to protect Zhang Lin's safety. Not far away, when Zhou Weibing was killing zombies, he couldn't help but glanced at Zhang Lin, his eyes filled with envy. He noticed it when Qingge and others arrived at the beginning, and was very disdainful at the time, thinking that Zhang Lin was really fooling around with a few women in such a dangerous battle. But as the battle progressed, he admitted he was wrong. These women are not just vases. Needless to say, Qingge's physical fitness has been improved by the extraordinary template. He has several days of combat experience, and he dares to fight for Zhang Lin's safety, and his efficiency in killing his zombies is not low. The difference between Qingwu and Ji Yutong is that they are slightly less experienced, but they have high physical fitness and are also willing to fight for Zhong Lin. 3 beauties, each with good abilities and loyal to Zhong Lin, would make any man not envious and jealous. Especially at this time, Zhong Lin squatted down and didn't know what he was doing to the zombie's body. 3 beautiful beauties were surrounding him to guard him, protecting him airtight. Maid, are all these women blind? Zhou Weibing slashed a zombie to death, but in his heart he thought the zombie was Zhong Lin. It would be fine if there was only one woman. The key is that Zhong Lin has 3. Moreover, these 3 women have no conflicts and are devoted to Zhong Lin. That is to say, Zhong Lin cannot be defeated, otherwise Zhou Weibing wants to kill Zhong Lin now and take these 3 women as his own. As an old Zhonghu who has awakened many memories, Zhou Weibing has rich combat experience, and his physical fitness is far superior to ordinary people. Without the threat of the Corpse King, he can fight while observing the situation at Zhong Lin's side, and envy, jealousy and hatred in my heart. You deserve to die, he cursed while killing zombies. In a short time, he killed more than a dozen zombies. Because he thought these zombies were Zhong Lin's, he actually felt a lot better. But before Zhou Weibing could continue to kill the zombies as Zhong Lin to vent his anger, suddenly, he felt a deadly threat approaching him. As a person who has been on the verge of death many times, Zhou Weibing believed in his intuition. Before his brain made a decision, his body moved instinctively. Leap forward. Boom. I don't know what broke out of the ground, bringing dust and flying rocks all over the sky. What? Zhou Weibing landed on the ground and looked at the big hole in the ground. A thought suddenly came to his mind, could it be? But before he could speak, there was a muffled pop sound, and the pale hand pierced his chest. A bloody and still beating heart was taken out. Bah, bah, bah. The sound of chewing echoed in the dust. Zhou Weibing's body fell to the ground, his eyes widened, full of unwillingness. The movement of the mysterious monster breaking out of the ground and the dust in the sky attracted everyone's attention. Zhong Lin no longer cared about studying the zombie corpses. He quickly stood up and looked in the direction of Zhou Weibing. After a while, the dust dispersed all over the sky, and there was nothing else on the ground except Zhou Weibing's body. A group of zombies smelled the smell of fresh flesh and blood, and rushed over excitedly, lying on his body to eat. What happened? Zhong Lin looked around vigilantly, but found nothing except zombies everywhere. Zhou Weibing is very strong, why did he die suddenly? He had fought alongside Zhou Weibing for a period of time just now. Although this man was a little smoother and not as brave as Lu Dajiao in battle, his strength was pretty good. Much better than Luo Jingxin and Li Jingdu. But such a master died suddenly. There's a big hole in the ground. And Qingge looked into the distance and saw the situation next to Zhou Weibing's body. The enemy comes from underground. Zhong Lin lowered his head and glanced, feeling as if something would break out of the ground at any time and give him a hard blow. Stand spread out a little, don't let the monsters be caught in one fell swoop. He was still calm and waved his hand, asking Qingge and the others to stand slightly away from him. People around him also dispersed one after another. Everyone knew that it was the right thing to do without Zhong Lin's explanation. Some experienced people had even guessed the identity of the monster. Ji Yutong stared at the big hole in the ground, her heart sank, and she couldn't help but murmured in a low voice, could it be that monster? Yutong, do you know what this is? Zhong Lin asked immediately. Ji Yutong shook his head slightly, with a solemn expression, I'm not sure, but I do know one kind of monster that digs holes from the ground and attacks by sneak attacks, but that kind of monster will only appear after the new era. It's a 1,000-legged corpse. The city lord arrived here without knowing when, and said the name of this monster in a positive tone. 1,000-legged corpse. Zhong Lin was puzzled. He had never heard the name of this monster. I also suspect that it is a 1,000-legged corpse, but I am not sure. After all, it is too early now. After Ji Yutong heard this, he no longer doubted his own judgment and explained to Zhong Lin. Millipede zombies are also a type of zombie. They are transformed from corpses buried deep underground. They are trapped underground and cannot come to the ground to hunt humans. Due to long-term resentment, they have mutated because there are often millipedes next to the corpses. Together, the millipede and the millipede merge to become a monster like the millipede. The 1,000-legged corpse has the ability to move underground, and because of its many legs, it moves very fast and is hard to guard against. The city lord took over the words and said cautiously, Zhonglin, please pay attention to your own safety next. Monsters like the thousand-legged corpse, it's not something you can solve. City lord, do you want to take action personally? Ji Yutong asked excitedly. During the biochemical crisis, unless there was a fatal crisis, the city lord would not take action. Historically, there were only a handful of times when he took action. But everyone knows that the city lord's strength is unfathomable. Thousand-legged corpses are indeed terrifying. But if the city lord takes action, Xiaoji, I am not a god. Before the new era, my strength was limited. I am not sure about dealing with thousand-legged corpses. The city lord understood what Ji Yutong meant and interrupted directly. He said coldly, you must not be careless. Ji Yutong was in a daze. She once saw the city lord killing thousands of corpses like dogs, but she forgot that it was the new era. She suddenly realized that the city lord was not as powerful as she thought. Now, I am the one who has awakened the legendary extraordinary template. This is something that even the city lord doesn't have. Ji Yutong couldn't help but look at Zhonglin. This man had changed her destiny. You guys should go back first. The city lord glanced at the three beautiful women beside Zhonglin, and twitched the corner of his mouth. Zhonglin, please stay here and help me. As soon as he finished speaking, there was suddenly a loud noise in the distance, followed by dust and chaos. Everyone's sight was blocked, but the screams still let everyone know what happened. After a while, the smoke dispersed, and there was a heartless body on the ground. Everyone present seemed to have their hearts twitching. Although some people were still focused on fighting zombies, more attention was focused on their feet. City Lord, at this time, with one more person and more strength, they should stay. Zhonglin looked at the newly appeared cave and rejected the City Lord's suggestion in a calm tone. The more people you kill, the better. The City Lord said with a frown. I think it would be better if there were more people. Zhonglin was unmoved at all. And Qingge and the three of them are all people who have awakened the extraordinary template. Although it is difficult to expose them, in this kind of life and death crisis, Zhonglin can't care so much. The thousand-legged corpse can attack from underground, making it impossible to defend against. Zhonglin will not be able to sleep well if such a monster is not dealt with. If the City Lord can't do it, he doesn't mind exposing his strength and getting rid of the thousand-legged corpse. The City Lord was very dissatisfied. For many years, except for Xiaoxia, who dared to disobey his orders. But now, he found that he had no way to deal with Zhonglin's disobedience. He has never seen Zhonglin reveal his extraordinary template. At present, with the strength Zhonglin has shown, he feels that he can overwhelm Zhonglin. But what time is it now? Thousand-legged corpses are underground. Do we want to have internal strife with Zhonglin when the enemy is at hand? You can do whatever you want. It's just that you are a very good-looking woman. Just don't feel bad when you die. The City Lord had no choice but to sneer to regain his face. Zhonglin shrugged and did not argue with the City Lord. Instead, he asked, are there any techniques for dealing with this kind of monster? It has been hiding underground and suddenly comes up to kill one. We are too passive. There is no good way to deal with it. We can only wait until it reaches the ground and then kill it. The City Lord is also helpless. He has many methods, but they are all useless now. As soon as he finished speaking, the original routine was repeated not far away. The millipede broke out of the ground. Under the cover of the smoke and dust in the sky, people couldn't see its appearance clearly. Then, the screams came. Zhonglin reacted the fastest and immediately drew his gun and fired, bang bang bang, more than 10 shots in a row, shooting at the place where the screams were heard. But as the smoke dispersed, nothing was left on the ground except a hole and a body. For a moment, everyone was shocked. People were in panic, no one cared about it anymore, and they instinctively moved closer together. At the same time, the ordinary zombies scattered inside and outside Hope City also began to surround everyone. There are thousands of zombies below who have been attacking and killing people, and there is a zombie army outside. Although there is no zombie king to command, the zombie army is still terrifying. The double pressure from inside and outside suddenly cast a shadow on everyone's heart. The rules of the apocalypse are like the matching mechanism of a game. The strong meet the strong, and the weak meet the weak. The thousand-legged corpse that was supposed to appear after the new era has appeared now. Could it be that some super strong person has appeared in other areas? The city lord couldn't help but murmured to himself. When Zhonglin heard this, his expression was slightly startled, and a strange feeling suddenly arose in his heart. He couldn't help but glance at the city lord. If we follow what the city lord said, is it because of his appearance that monsters like the thousand-legged corpse appeared in the early stages of the Resident Evil crisis? Ji Yutong was also stunned. She has heard this statement before, but it is not a statement that everyone agrees with. Now that the city lord suddenly mentioned it, she couldn't help but think of Zhonglin. There are 4 legendary extraordinary templates, and Zhonglin has other trump cards. It seems that it is reasonable for a monster like the thousand-legged corpse to appear. City lord, what time is it now? Why are you still talking about this? Think of a way to deal with the thousand-legged corpse. Ji Yutong didn't want the city lord to doubt Zhonglin, so he quickly changed the topic. Do you think I suspect Zhonglin? The city lord saw through Ji Yutong's little thoughts at a glance, and then smiled lightly. In the past, there were at most 2 corpse kings, but this time there were 4. Why do you think I didn't take action? He looked very confident, because he has carefully observed Zhonglin's strength. At present, he is only worth 2 corpse kings. Therefore, he was not in a hurry to take action at that time. According to the rules, since there are 2 more corpse kings, Zhonglin must have matching strength. But at this time, not only were there more corpse kings, but there were also more thousand-footed corpses. If the thousand-legged corpse had real power, it would not be able to match the corpse king. But the main role of the zombie king is to command the zombie army, and the thousand-footed zombie has the difficult ability to burrow into the ground, and is extremely fast. Although the killing efficiency is not as high as the zombie army, it causes more panic than the zombie army. You can see it now by looking at everyone's performance. The zombie army is at the head, and everyone will die if they don't resist, but now all the zombie kings are dead, and the fatal threat is gone. However, there is a thousand-legged corpse, and I may die under its sneak attack at any time. This is completely different. Now everyone has no fighting spirit and just wants to protect themselves. That's not right. If there are super strong people in other areas, why has the difficulty here in Hope City increased? The city owner completely ignored the situation at this time and was completely immersed in his own thinking. How long has this been? Are you still thinking about this? Zhonglin was a little confused. Shouldn't the city lord quickly find a way to kill the thousand-legged corpse now? But he couldn't help but know that the city lord's thinking was completely different from theirs. The city lord has awakened his memory many times. To a certain extent, he is immortal. Now that he is dead, he is just accumulating experience for his future self. For him, it doesn't matter how many people are killed by the thousand-legged corpse now. Instead, figuring out the various rules of the end of the world is the most important thing. In this regard, Zhonglin's idea of fighting is completely different from that of the city lord. For Zhonglin, there is only one life. He will not think about his past and present lives. Even if he dies, the world restarts, and he awakens his memory, but Zhonglin, I don't think it's me either. Only your current self is you. Therefore, when the city lord was thinking about whether new rules would appear in the last days, he was also thinking about how to get rid of the thousand-legged corpse. If according to the rules stated by the city lord, the thousand-legged corpse appeared because of himself, then Zhonglin would have to deal with the thousand-legged corpse. Since it appeared for himself, the ultimate target must be himself. I don't want to be killed by a thousand-legged corpse that appears from the ground one day while I'm sleeping with my wife in my arms, so I have to kill the thousand-legged corpse first. Having made up his mind, Zhonglin began to look for a way to kill the thousand-legged corpse. It is known that the thousand-legged corpse has 2 major characteristics. 1. The ability to dig into the ground. 2. Extreme speed. If you want to kill the thousand-legged corpse, you must first limit its 2 abilities. Zhonglin observed the positions of the killed people, and then discovered a characteristic: thousand-legged corpse should have good intelligence. The targets it chooses are all the kind of people who are alone and have pretty good strength. Not to mention the former Zhou Weibing, who was originally the 3rd captain, was later squeezed by Zhonglin to the 4th position. The captain's position proved his strength. The few people killed later, as long as Zhonglin remembered them, had performed well in the previous battles. In other words, it chooses to first clean up those who are powerful and threatening to it. The reason why it doesn't choose us is because we are relatively close and it can't find a chance. Zhang Lin already understood the thousand-legged corpse's purpose. Killing is regular. At this time, another scream sounded. When the dust cleared, there were new victims. Brother! A young man ran over, hugged the body and cried. Then, the thousand-legged corpse appeared from the hole again, attacked the young man, killed him with one blow, and then re-entered the hole with the man's heart. Zhang Lin finally saw the complete picture of the millipede. It was a zombie over 2 meters tall. Its upper body was that of a human, and its lower body was a bit like a centipede. Its densely packed lower limbs were all equipped with sharp hooks, which could kill people, but were better at digging holes. Its overall appearance is khaki, and its human appearance is almost gone. Its mouth is full of sharp teeth, and the gaps are filled with dirt. Everyone, stand together, Zhang Lin shouted. Everyone instinctively followed his orders, shrinking their formation and gathering together. Although there was still an army of zombies surrounding them outside, at this moment, the real threat was the thousand-legged zombies underground. Zhang Lin also considered this. The zombie army without a command is not scary, but if the thousand-legged zombies are not dealt with first, once the morale of the human camp collapses and is defeated, the zombie army will become scary. As long as the thousand-legged corpse is dealt with, the surrounding zombie army will be easier to deal with. What we need to see now is whether he can get rid of the thousand-legged zombies before the zombie army completely surrounds him. Before, Zhang Lin asked Qingge and the others to separate from him and not stand too close for fear of being attacked by thousands of zombies from the ground. But now, Zhang Lin asked everyone to stand together. The situation was completely different. It might dare to attack 3 to 5 people, but now 2 to 3,000 people are gathered together, how dare it still attack? Zhang Lin, your move is useless. The city lord was disturbed by his voice. He came back to his senses and shook his head. It does not dare to sneak attack when there are many people, but we can't stay together. There is an army of zombies outside. Woolen cloth. He has a point. But Zhang Lin had his own ideas. What's the point? Zhang Lin grinned. Now, I'll give you a task. You can command everyone on my behalf. Don't mess up the formation. Clean up the surrounding zombies and create space for me. Can you do it? Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. The city lord looked at him with wide eyes. You give me a task. Commanding everyone on your behalf. On horseback, who is the city lord? The city lord was confused for a moment. The tone of Zhang Lin's order was so natural that he was in a daze. Could it be that he was actually Zhang Lin's subordinate and he was the city lord? The city lord wanted to say something. But he was interrupted by Zhang Lin. Thousand-legged corpse, I'll deal with it. After saying that, he strode away from the crowd. And Qingge and others did not stop him. They knew Zhang Lin best. He would never do anything to risk death. If he dared to go out at this time, he must be well prepared. The city lord looked at Zhang Lin's back blankly, his mouth opened for a moment, but he didn't know what to say. Thousand-legged corpse, I'm right here. If you have the guts, come and challenge me. Zhang Lin stayed away from the crowd, stood in an open space and roared. Since the millipede corpse would choose a strong and lonely person to attack, Zhang Lin took the initiative to give it the opportunity. In short, he must lure the millipede corpse out so that he can find a chance to kill it. If you let it hide underground, there will be no chance of killing it. Zhang Lin. The city lord's eyelids couldn't help but twitch, and he shouted, you are too impulsive, the thousand-legged corpse is not as simple as you think. He was a little angry. Zhang Lin is a person he likes and wants to cultivate into a future human leader. But now, Zhang Lin is taking such a risk. Zhang Lin ignored him and after shouting, Zhang Lin focused his attention on his feet to prevent the sneak attack of the thousand-legged corpse that might appear at any time. You don't want to persuade him either. The city lord received no response and could only look at Qingge and others. Qingge replied calmly, all we can do is believe in our men. The city lord snorted coldly and looked at Ji Yutong again. Xiaoji, if she doesn't understand, don't you understand too? Don't you understand what a thousand-legged corpse is? I think, maybe, should. Zhang Lin can beat the thousand-legged corpse. Ji Yutong said hesitantly. She didn't know what to say. for fear that if she said too much, she would reveal something and make Zhang Lin unhappy later. But she really had nothing to worry about. Not to mention Zhang Lin's strength and trump cards, let's just say that she still has the ability to put a shield on Zhang Lin. She is staring at Zhang Lin. Once something happens to Zhang Lin, she will immediately put a shield on Zhang Lin. When Zhang Lin just left, he patted her little butt, which probably meant the same thing. The city lord really has no choice now. He doesn't know where Zhang Lin's confidence comes from, but now he has no choice but to cooperate with Zhang Lin. Everyone, join hands to kill the zombies, give priority to Zhang Lin nearby, give him some space. Now he really becomes Zhang Lin's subordinate. Xiaoxia, come on, I may not be able to control this kid myself. The city lord muttered in frustration, and at the same time, he started to lead people to clean up the ordinary zombies. Although they were fighting zombies, the eyes of the city lord and others would often drift towards Zhang Lin. Zhang Lin's decision to challenge Thousand-Foot Corpse alone made him look like a hero. Especially when he stood on the open ground, carrying the black sword on his shoulders, holding his head high, he was really full of heroic spirit. At this moment, the city lord felt from the bottom of his heart that although Zhang Lin's move was a bit risky, it was also full of heroism. The leader and savior of mankind needs such courage. Maid, why doesn't the thousand-legged corpse come out? Is it because I'm not attractive enough? Zhang Lin stood for a while, and began to murmur in his heart. At this time, all his energy was focused on the thousand-foot corpse, but he didn't know that the city lord regarded himself as a hero, otherwise he might laugh out loud. Suddenly, he felt a slight vibration on the ground. When I looked down, I couldn't see anything. The ground was exactly the same as usual. But Zhang Lin believed in his feelings. The dual physical growth of the physique-improving potion and template, as well as the re-enhancement of the dragon bloodline, brought his overall physical fitness to a level that can be photographed, and his sensory abilities in all aspects are also much stronger than ordinary people. He trusts his own judgment. Coming, Zhang Lin swallowed, and held the handle of the knife with both hands harder. At the same time, an excited smile appeared on his face. He was very nervous, and the huge pressure also aroused his desire to win. Isn't it just a little thousand-legged corpse? Do it. But where will it come from? Zhang Lin lowered his head and looked around. According to past experience, the thousand-legged corpse will burst out of the ground under a person's feet. A sudden attack will make the person unstable, and then it will take the opportunity to kill the target. That is to say, Zhang Lin looked at his feet, and the posture of holding the knife in both hands changed to holding the knife in his backhand, with the tip of the knife facing down. Suddenly, the ground beneath his feet suddenly bulged, rocks flew, dust flew, and a monster suddenly jumped out. Zhang Lin had been prepared for a long time. Although he lost control of his lower body and could no longer stand still, he thrust the knife down with all his strength. Buzz! It let out a cry of pain that was like the chirping of mosquitoes. Zhang Lin's knife hit it in the shoulder. It wanted to take the opportunity to reach out and take out Zhang Lin's heart, but it was repulsed by the knife. Thousand-legged corpse wanted to escape, but Zhang Lin knew that this opportunity could not be given up. Once thousand-legged corpse decided to escape, he would never have the chance to kill thousand-legged corpse. On the contrary, in the future, he will have to guard against sneak attacks by thousand-legged corpses every day. Come back to me, you. The thousand-legged corpse burrowed down, and Zhang Lin, with his quick hands and eyes, instantly grabbed one of its long legs and sharp claws under its belly. Regardless of the fact that his palm was cut and dripping with blood, he pulled hard and threw the thousand-legged corpse upwards. The thousand-legged corpse was directly hit by him. Thrown out of the hole. The thousand-legged corpse flew into the sky. For a creature that relied on escaping from the earth for a living, this was an unfamiliar experience. More than a dozen pairs of its long legs were flying in the air, as if trying to control the direction, but to no avail. In the end it hit the ground hard with a boom. Buzz. It had already developed a mind at this time. After landing, it turned around instantly, with more than a dozen pairs of long legs touching the ground, and its claws quickly dug out. In just 1 second, it dug a big pit. If it continued like this, it might be able to escape underground again in less than 5 seconds. Of course, Zhang Lin couldn't watch it dig a hole and escape, so he immediately rushed over with a knife. On the way, he didn't forget to use the yin and yang magic ring to heal his own wounds. By the time he rushed over, the thousand-legged corpse had already dug a hole more than 2 meters deep, its entire body had been buried in the hole, and it was still covered with a thin layer of soil. Zhang Lin inserted the knife into the hole. There was a muffled, pop, sound. Buzz buzz buzz. The thousand-legged corpse made a rapid cry. Then Zhang Lin raised his sword upwards, and the thousand-legged corpse was forcibly picked out of the cave. The thousand-legged corpse also knew that there was no hope of escape at this time, so it simply gave up digging a hole. After landing, it raised a dozen pairs of long claws under its belly and attacked Zhang Lin at a ghostly speed. Zhang Lin blocked with a knife. The sharp claws under the belly of the thousand-legged corpse were harder than steel. When they connected with the Miao Dao, they made a sound of metal collision, and even sparks burst out. Moreover, it has more than one sharp claw under its abdomen, and its length is far longer than an ordinary human's arm. Zhang Lin's Miao Dao blocked a pair of sharp claws, but it still has many more. In addition to a few pairs that need to be used as body support, the rest everything you drop can be used to attack. Therefore, after blocking a pair of sharp claws, Zhang Lin could only retreat and retreat, otherwise he would be attacked by the other sharp claws of the thousand-legged corpse. The 1,000-foot corpse had a certain amount of wisdom. It actually used the arc of its claws to hook Zhang Lin's weapon in an attempt to disarm him. Fortunately, Zhang Lin was stronger and managed to break free in time. 1,000-foot corpse is really powerful. Zhang Lin took 2 steps back, his eyes slightly solemn, thinking in his mind whether to expose his trump card and kill 1,000-foot corpse, or to maintain his current strength and fight for a while longer. The thousand-legged corpse also looked at Zhang Lin and did not take the initiative to attack. Its scarlet eyes were filled with bloodthirsty killing intent, and it opened its mouth full of sharp teeth and screamed threateningly at Zhang Lin. Although it is not weak in strength, its nature makes it prefer sneak attacks underground rather than fighting head-on. Now that he had opened a little distance, Zhang Lin simply took out his gun and started shooting at the thousand-legged corpse. Bang bang bang. The thousand-legged corpse completely dodged all the bullets. It had more than 20 legs and was very fast. Buzz. It was also enraged. This tiny human actually provoked it many times. Do you really think you dare not eat him? The thousand-legged corpse was angry. At the same time, it also knew that if it did not deal with Zhang Lin, it would not be able to escape at all, so it also exposed its ferocity. The first pair of long legs and sharp claws under its belly were blocked in front of its head, and it charged directly towards Zhang Lin. Come over. The upper body of the thousand-legged corpse is just like an ordinary zombie. It is at most stronger than ordinary zombies, but its lower body is very strong and is completely immune to bullet damage. Withstanding Zhang Lin's shot, it approached Zhang Lin, and then several pairs of long legs at the back end of the body supported the body, and all the long legs and sharp claws at the front and middle parts attacked Zhang Lin together. Faced with this offensive, Zhang Lin sighed and decided not to hide his strength anymore. At present, it seems that with his current strength, he cannot deal with the 1,000-foot corpse. Zhang Lin is obviously no match for the thousand-legged corpse. Old Wu, come and help me command, and I will help Zhang Lin get rid of the thousand-legged corpse. In the distance, the city lord was also paying attention to Zhang Lin's situation. Seeing Zhang Lin struggling to block the attack of more than a dozen long legs and sharp claws of the thousand-legged corpse, he frowned slightly, handed over the command to Wu Jihui, and prepared to help Zhang Lin. At this time, his position was still relatively far away from Zhang Lin. After all, Zhang Lin couldn't get too close to the crowd in order to lure out the thousand-legged corpse. The city lord sped up, and as he ran, his white robe fluttered, vaguely revealing the slender and smooth curves inside the white robe, as well as the dazzling silver-white reflection. The city lord would never take action unless absolutely necessary. Although he has good strength, he has always positioned himself as a mentor. After many reincarnations, his upper limit has been set. Moreover, in order to awaken his memory in advance, he paid a terrible price. If he takes action, it will be aggravated. This price. What he wants to do more is to rely on his early awakening memories to cultivate truly strong men among humans and lead them through this end of the world. And Zhang Lin is his newly discovered target. Now that Zhang Lin might not be a match for 1,000-foot corpse, he had no choice but to take action, even if he had to pay some price. But just when the city lord made up his mind, prepared to take action for Zhonglin, and quickly ran towards Zhonglin finally made up his mind. While holding a knife to block the attacks of more than a dozen long legs and claws of the thousand-legged corpse, he also activated the dragon's breath. In an instant, all the flesh and blood on his neck, throat, and mouth grew scales, and all the flesh and blood inside also grew. Shift to the dragon aspect. At the same time, a powerful burst of flame element condensed in his mouth. The thousand-legged corpse is still attacking crazily. It is determined to kill this tiny human and devour his flesh and blood. For some reason, the thousand-legged zombie wants to do this. In addition to the bloodthirsty desire of the zombie itself, there seems to be some mysterious power driving it. Zhonglin, I'm here. Before the city lord arrived, he shouted first. Then, he saw a collection of hot temperatures, like a ball of magma, quickly spurting out of Zhonglin's mouth with a force that could destroy the world and hit the thousand-legged corpse. The city lord's expression was dull and he couldn't help but slow down. The fierce power made him feel apprehensive. The flames engulfed the thousand-legged corpse. Buzz buzz. The screams of the thousand-legged corpse were rapid and shrill. It struggled violently, but the flame was like a tarsal maggot, tightly attached to its body. It rolled on the ground, dug holes in the ground, and drilled into the earth, trying to cut off oxygen and extinguish the flame, but it failed at all effect. After a while, the thousand-legged corpse made a large hole 3 to 4 meters deep in the ground, and its remaining body happened to be in this hole. The city lord just ran to Zhonglin, and when he saw the charred black thousand-legged corpses in the cave, he fell silent. How did you come? Zhonglin felt him coming, turned around and asked calmly. Of course he knew that the city lord was here to help him. At this time, his strength has been exposed, but he is not sure about the attitude of the city lord, so his attitude is somewhat different from before. The city lord was stunned for a while, then walked to the big hole made by thousand-legged corpse and kicked the floating soil outside. Soon, the floating soil covered the remains in the cave, and then he said, "Collect a corpse for thousand-footed corpse." He didn't ask about dragon's breath. With the knowledge of the city lord, he can certainly see that this is not the power that humans can obtain before the new era. It is very similar to the power brought by extraordinary templates, and it is not an ordinary extraordinary template. He has seen similar power before. The thousand-legged corpse is dead. The city lord was kind enough to collect the corpse for it. What a kindness. Zhonglin looked at him with a smile. There's nothing going on here. Let's go back. The city lord said before that his strength may not be the opponent of thousand-foot corpse. Even if he had reservations, the city lord's strength could not surpass his own. Even if he did, he could not surpass him by too much. Zhonglin was thinking in his mind. If the city lord really wants to explore his secrets, he can completely fall out with him. The city lord may have seen that he has awakened the extraordinary template. But if he chooses to be the most hands-on, then I'm sorry. I still have 3 extraordinary templates of the same level. The city lord probably understood Zhonglin's thoughts and knew that he was very wary of him, which made him feel a little unhappy. I didn't mention you breathing fire, but you still treat me like this. Zhonglin, what do you mean? He couldn't help but ask. City lord, what are you talking about? Zhonglin looked like he didn't understand. When you singled out thousand-foot corpse, everyone was watching. How could you still defend yourself against everyone? The city lord snorted dissatisfied. Or are you only targeting me? Of course Zhonglin was only targeting him. Even if others see it, what will happen? At this stage, who can do anything to themselves? However, the city lord is different. He was too mysterious, so Zhonglin had more scruples. City lord, you are really good at joking, why would I target you? Zhonglin said meaningless words, but his attitude was obvious. The city lord was also helpless. Zhonglin was right to be wary. He was indeed curious about Zhonglin's awakening of the extraordinary template before the new era. If possible, he would also like to get this method into his hands. In this way, if the world restarts again, he will be able to train many masters before the new era. But, the city lord is not the kind of person who does things unscrupulously. Rather than taking it by force, he hoped to get the secret from Zhonglin peacefully. But now looking at Zhonglin's guard against him, the city lord knew that this was almost impossible. You don't need to be wary of me, I won't harm you. The city lord said helplessly, but after he looked at Zhang Lin, he saw an expression of disbelief on his face, and he was so angry that he almost twisted his mouth. Zhang Lin and the city lord returned to the center of Hope City together. When walking through the crowd, everyone stared at Zhang Lin and remained silent. The scene before was so shocking. The thousand-legged corpse, which made everyone panic, was killed by Zhang Lin with a breath of fire. At that time, everyone was shocked. At that moment, the battlefield seemed to have quieted down, and there was no sound. This was before the new era. Zhang Lin clearly showed his true extraordinary power and killed the thousand-legged corpse in one move. What does this mean? Extraordinary template. If it were after the new era, no one would be so surprised. But during this time period, Zhang Lin awakened the extraordinary template, which simply exceeded everyone's imagination. Anyone with knowledge will recognize that Zhang Lin has awakened the extraordinary template. But what's the use? I hope that in the city, except the city lord, who would dare to take Zhang Lin's idea. You can kill a thousand-legged corpse, but you can't kill an ordinary person like yourself. If the city lord ascends to the throne at this time and says that he wants to capture Zhang Lin and interrogate the secrets about the extraordinary template, maybe someone else will dare to take action. But the city lord obviously didn't have this idea. What are you looking at? Clean up the zombies on your own. Seeing everyone following Zhang Lin, the city owner cursed angrily. If we don't clean up the zombies in the city, how can you sleep at night? Immediately, everyone dispersed in a hurry, and together with people they knew well, they cleaned up the zombies everywhere. The zombie army summoned by the 4 zombie kings is at least tens of thousands. It is impossible to kill them all, but fortunately, there is no need to kill them all now. Without the leadership of the zombie kings, I hope that the city's walls are enough to stop most of the zombies. For now, as long as the zombies in the city are cleaned up quickly and the damaged walls are repaired, everyone can still sleep peacefully tonight. Zhang Lin, I think we need to talk. After the crisis was resolved, the city lord was naturally too lazy to take action at this time, so he invited Zhang Lin to the city lord's mansion for a talk. He felt that there was a crisis of trust between himself and Zhang Lin. I'm sorry, I won't be able to sleep at night unless the zombies in the city are cleaned up. I'd better go and clean up the zombies. Zhang Lin refused directly. Hearing Zhang Lin's answer, the city lord's face darkened again. He had been frustrated by Zhang Lin today, and he couldn't lose his face anymore. But it happened that he really had no ill intentions towards Zhang Lin, but Zhang Lin had always been wary of him. He felt so wrong. Forget it. He felt that Zhang Lin was young and energetic, and his strength was so strong at such a young age that it was inevitable that he would be a little bloated, so he could just suppress it and temper it. But, for now, he really doesn't have the confidence to overwhelm Zhang Lin in terms of strength. The city lord shook his white robe, snorted coldly, turned around and left. He had already made up his mind that when his confidant Xiao Sha arrived, he would join forces with Xiao Sha to teach Zhang Lin a lesson and suppress his arrogance. Zhang Lin didn't care about the city lord's anger. He turned around and went to find Qingge and the others. He returned with them to the vicinity of Villa number 16 and began to clean up the zombies nearby. Now, he has some concerns about the mysterious city lord, but the confidence brought by his strong strength makes him eager to have a try with the city lord. However, directly confronting the city lord is obviously not in line with Zhang Lin's character. He is not the kind of person who is arrogant even if he has some strength. Therefore, Zhang Lin's current attitude is very simple. Put your distrust of the city lord out in the open, but don't offend him. If he doesn't do anything to himself, then of course everything will be fine. If he really dares to do something to himself, then give it a try. If you accidentally win. Sorry, Hope City belongs to me. Zhang Lin has always wanted a base, where he can marry, have children, develop his family, get rewards from the system, and silently improve his own strength. This is also the reason why he chose to live in Hope City and deal with the defense of Hope City. But in the final analysis, this is still relying on others. That is to say, Zhang Lin has no suitable place to go now, otherwise he would have left long ago. Of course, there is another option. That is to make Hope City your own. But the same problem remains. Although Zhang Lin is now very powerful, the city lord is also mysterious enough. Zhong Lin will not rashly provoke him if it is not necessary. However, the matters in the base area can be put aside for now. As long as there is no direct conflict with the city lord, Hope City can still be considered a suitable place to live. Now that several women in the family have received the rewards for getting married, the rewards for having children need to be worked on slowly. It is also time to find some new goals and redevelop the rewards for getting married. In a short time, Zhong Lin and Qingge and others cleaned up the zombies near Villa number 16, and then Zhong Lin ignored the rest. Everyone sweeps the snow in front of their doors. Zhong Lin just wanted to have fun one night without being disturbed. He didn't care what others did. Back home, Mu Xiaoya and Mu Xiaohui came downstairs to greet them in loose nightgowns. Zhong Lin went over and kissed each other. Their young faces were elastic and full of collagen. The twin sisters were shy. Although it was so ridiculous before, the two sisters were with Zhong Lin. But at this time, in front of so many people, they were still very embarrassed. There was a big battle today and everyone is very tired. Xiaoya and Xiaohui, please cook some dishes and bring out some wine. Let's relax tonight. Zhong Lin laughed. Their shy looks are so endearing. That night, the atmosphere in Villa number 16 was very festive. And Qingge had 2 drinks, his face was red and his eyes were a little blurry. Qingge, let's go back and rest. Zhong Lin was a little drunk, and stood up with a wandering step, holding her shoulders and returning to the bedroom. I haven't comforted my eldest wife for several days, and it's time to discuss the matter of finding a new goal in the future. Villa number 2 in Hope City. Lu Dajiao woke up slowly, his head was a little groggy, and he had no previous memories at all. He lay in bed for a long time, and he only remembered that before he fell into coma, he had done something big and was praised by a very awesome person. Honey, you're finally awake. Beside the bed, there was a woman lying on her side. She was Lu Dajiao's wife, named Huang Shanshan. She had been standing by Lu Dajiao's side since he was sent back. Until she couldn't stand it anymore and fell asleep. Now that Lu Dajiao woke up, she heard the movement and woke up. Why are you fighting so hard? Seeing Lu Dajiao's dazed look, Huang Shanshan laughed angrily. You can obviously kill the Corpse King as easily as Captain Zhang, but you chose to fight the Corpse King head-on. After hearing this, Lu Dajiao finally recovered his memory. When he heard his wife's words, he smiled and said proudly. Although Zhong Lin killed 3 Corpse Kings, he did so by cleverness, but I killed 1 Corpse King by relying on hard power. Which one is stronger and which one is weaker is obvious to everyone. Zhong Lin himself is also aware of this. I expressed my admiration. Speaking of this, Lu Dajiao couldn't help but smile again on his face. Before he fell into coma, Zhong Lin expressed his admiration for himself. Others must admire him even more, right? After all, he relied on hard power to fight off a Corpse King. Husband. Seeing Lu Dajiao's narcissistic look, Huang Shanshan was a little speechless. She had been married to Lu Dajiao for many years and knew what kind of person he was. Otherwise, she would really not be able to help but slap him. Shanshan, let me ask you, what do the people in Hope City think of me and Zhong Lin now? Lu Dajiao asked impatiently. I admit that Zhong Lin is very strong, and he has made great contributions to Hope City by killing 3 zombie kings in a row, but my achievements in killing zombie kings with hard power are no worse than his, right? In front of outsiders, Lu Dajiao would hide his true nature, but in front of his married wife, he did not hide it at all. Zhong Lin squeezed his position and pressed him down for no reason. Lu Dajiao was very unconvinced. I serve the city lord because he single-handedly created Hope City, and I serve the boss because I was beaten by her too many times. But what kind of beast are you, Zhong Lin? You put it on my head as soon as you came. The enemy is currently facing us, so I won't fight you in order not to drain Hope City's power internally, but I am still unconvinced and want to prove myself on the battlefield. Admittedly, Zhong Lin's subsequent performance impressed him very much, and he believed that Zhong Lin was indeed qualified to be the second captain. But Lu Dajiao also refused to admit defeat easily. I'm not going to overwhelm you, but I can't be worse than you now, right? That is to say, you have a head start. The number of Corpse Kings killed is small and cannot be compared with yours, but I am competing with you in terms of quality. Although my achievements in killing a corpse king head-on are not as great as those of Zhonglin, if we compare our strength, you can't say that I am worse than Lu Dajiao, right? This is what Lu Dajiao is thinking now. He looked at his wife expectantly, hoping to know from her what the outside world thought of him and Zhonglin. Which of the two is stronger or weaker? Husband. Huang Shanshan hesitated to speak. She had already heard about it. After all 4 zombie kings died, Zhonglin single-handedly challenged the new 1,000-legged corpse and killed it instantly with the extraordinary power of spitting fire. Whether it's in terms of merit or reputation, Zhonglin is no match for Lu Dajiao now. She knew her man's character so well that if she told him this, he would not be able to sleep for several days. Wife, what's wrong with you? Lu Dajiao looked at his wife strangely. What did he mean by hesitating to speak? Husband, you have exhausted your energy in the previous battle. Now is the time to recuperate. I will bring you chicken soup. You can have a good rest after drinking it. Huang Shanshan could only forcefully change the subject, said one sentence, and ran out quickly the bedroom. Seeing his wife's attitude, Lu Dajiao suddenly felt something bad in his heart. Could it be that some people still think that I am inferior to Zhonglin? That's not right. Although the number of corpse kings one killed cannot be compared with Zhonglin, I killed the corpse king head-on. After all, my reputation will not be much different from Zhonglin's. Lu Dajiao was very puzzled, so he decided to find the answer by himself. Although he was exhausted before, more than 10 hours have passed now. His foundation was already good. Regardless of how much combat power he has recovered at this time, he can still perform basic actions. So, before his wife brought the chicken soup, he climbed out the window and went out. It was already late at night, and Hope City was in a mess, with zombies and human corpses everywhere. Occasionally, zombies with green eyes could be found wandering around Hope City. After fighting for a day, most people were tired. Most people made the same choice as Zhonglin, cleaning up the zombies near their homes and going back to rest. People who have houses to live in are not afraid of these wandering zombies at all. And those who don't have a house to live in can only gather into large and small groups, arrange night watchers, and then rest. The large-scale zombies have all been killed, and the scattered ones that remain do not pose much of a threat to humans. It was late at night, and most people had gone to bed. It was still a bit difficult for Lu Dajiao to find out the news. But fortunately, he is an old man in Hope City, and he knows where there are still people who can get news. Lu Dajiao arrived at the door of Villa number 88 in Hope City with ease. This was almost the only brightly lit place in Hope City. Tavern No. 88. There is a sign at the door. The city owner plans to run Hope City for a long time, and the first floor of each house can be used as a shop. The owner of number 88 is a very business-minded person and transformed the first floor of his house into a pub. After the war, drinking some wine and chatting with friends is a good way to relax and reduce stress. At this time, there were 30 or 40 people gathered in Tavern No. 88. Everyone was drinking until their faces were red, and they were talking loudly about today's battle. Of course, the one he talked about the most was Zhonglin. After all, Zhonglin's performance today was too eye-catching, especially his extraordinary ability to breathe fire in the final duel with 1,000-foot corpse. It simply blinded everyone. Tonight, what everyone said the most was guessing how Zhonglin obtained his extraordinary abilities. Lu Dajiao pushed the door open and shouted familiarly, "Old Chi, serve me the good wine you have here, the medicinal wine made with all kinds of extraordinary ingredients. I have to make up for it today." The owner of the tavern, Lao Chi, is a man in his early 30s. He looks honest. When he saw him, he quickly smiled and said, "Brother Lu, we haven't reached the new era yet. Where can I get the extraordinary materials to make wine?" "Oh, that's it. Look, I'm confused, so just grab a few bottles of beer." Lu Dajiao suddenly understood, then smiled, "I'll just drink here and listen to what you guys are talking about." Inside Villa number 2, Huang Shanshan waited anxiously. "Where is my husband?" In the time it took her to serve chicken soup, her big husband disappeared. Knowing Lu Dajiao's character well, she could probably guess where Lu Dajiao had gone. However, now that Lu Dajiao's strength has not recovered, and there are still scattered zombies outside, what should we do if we encounter danger? Huang Shanshan was worried, but she was just a weak woman. She had never awakened her memory and had no fighting power. She relied on Lu Dajiao's protection so that she could settle down in Hope City and live a stable life. She didn't dare to go out to look for Lu Dajiao rashly, so she could only wait anxiously at home. Finally, Huang Shanshan stayed up until dawn and finally heard the sound of the door being opened. She quickly went downstairs to check. But they saw Lu Dajiao staggering back with his face flushed and drunk. "Husband, you are finally back." Huang Shanshan finally breathed a sigh of relief. She helped Lu Dajiao go upstairs, but as soon as he reached the second floor, Lu Dajiao lay down directly on the ground with a pop. "How much did you drink?" Huang Shanshan wanted to drag him to the bed, but she was too weak to do it, so she could only get a quilt and cover him. With Lu Dajiao like this, she couldn't go to the bedroom to rest, so she simply lay down next to Lu Dajiao and rested together. I don't know how long it took, but Huang Shanshan couldn't bear it and fell asleep, until she was woken up by a burst of crying. Why would anyone cry at home? Huang Shanshan woke up in a daze, but then fell asleep with peace of mind. My husband is a strong man, there is no way he could cry. I must be dreaming. Seeing his wife sleeping again, Lu Dajiao couldn't hold back his sobs anymore, and murmured aggrievedly, "Why? Why did a thousand-legged corpse run out after I passed out?" He thought that when he arrived at the tavern, he would hear everyone praising his feat. Challenge the Corpse King and kill him alone. During the biohazard crisis, there were very few people who could do this. Most of them, like Zhang Lin, relied on clever methods to kill the Corpse King. As a result, the situation was not as he expected. In the entire tavern, no one among the 34 people mentioned his name. Zhang Lin. Everyone is talking about Zhang Lin. Some people are guessing the name of the ability Zhang Lin uses. Some people are discussing what is Zhang Lin's extraordinary template for awakening. There are also people who are inferring the level of Zhang Lin's extraordinary template based on the strength of his abilities. There are still people talking about the thousand-legged corpse and looking for the reason why the thousand-legged corpse appears in this reincarnation. Some people are even talking about the women around Zhang Lin. Who is better looking, and Qingge or Ji Yutong? There are still people who like the young and Qingwu. Some people are even curious about why the women around Zhang Lin don't fight. But no one is talking about Lu Dajiao. He wanted to leave at that time. He really couldn't stay in that miserable place for a second. But if I go like this, I will appear to be too ungraceful, and, wait a little longer, what if someone talks about me? So Lu Dajiao drank to relieve the depression in his heart, while enduring the suffering and continuing to wait in the tavern. But after waiting all night, no one said his name. "Maid, you guys, is my single-handed killing of the Corpse King so unworthy of mentioning?" Lu Dajiao roared in his heart. If it were in the past, the matter of killing the Corpse King alone would have been enough to be discussed in the tavern for more than 10 days. Why are you all talking about Zhang Lin this time? In the end, Lu Dajiao drank until dawn, drank more than a dozen bottles of beer, more than a kilogram of liquor, and several cocktails. Finally, I came home drunk and passed out. When he woke up and saw the quilt on his body and his wife beside him, he couldn't help but recall the past. In the past, the city lord kept a low profile and did not take many actions. The first captain preferred to be a solitary person and did not interact closely with others. As the second captain, he became the central figure in Hope City. Every move he makes is noticed, and every time he does something big, he is praised by the whole city. Now suddenly there was Zhang Lin, who directly suppressed him. Not to mention the position that had taken his position before. At that time, Lu Dajiao still had the confidence to regain his face when zombies besieged the city. But after the battle, Lu Dajiao found that he had no hope of surpassing Zhang Lin. This made Lu Dajiao completely unable to hold back. Suddenly a feeling of grievance welled up in his heart, and he couldn't help but shed tears. But he didn't expect that his crying would almost wake up his wife. If his wife sees him crying again, Lu Dajiao felt that he could consider living on another planet. Fortunately, Huang Shanshan did not wake up and he could continue to live on Earth. Lu Dajiao stood up and sneaked to the bathroom. He couldn't control his emotions at all. He burst into tears. After a while, he looked at himself in the mirror with red eyes, gritted his teeth and swore. "Zhang Lin, just wait, sooner or later I will surpass you." Zhang Lin. A single fight against the thousand-legged corpse. On the ruined apocalyptic streets, a cool-looking motorcycle was parked on the roadside. A little girl was sitting on the motorcycle, and next to the motorcycle was a woman wearing a black leather coat. The woman looks like she is in her early 20s, with fair skin and a slender figure. She has short, ear-length hair that is neatly draped behind her head. She has big sunglasses pushed up to her head and a pair of sharp eyes, staring at the man kneeling under her long leather boots. Yes. Yes, he is the most popular person in Hope City now. Apart from this Zhang Lin, Hope City is no different from before. The man lay on the ground with a panicked tone. This woman wearing leather clothes, leather pants, long leather boots, and sunglasses is Xia Xiaonuan, the first captain of Hope City. After several reincarnations, her position as the first captain of Hope City has never been shaken. He was also blind. When he saw a cool motorcycle on the side of the road, he became greedy and wanted to ride it away. As a result, Xia Xiaonuan, the owner of the motorcycle, just happened to be returning. He was caught by Xia Xiaonuan and interrogated about the recent situation in Hope City. The man is also from Hope City. After experiencing a big battle yesterday, he immediately went out to search for supplies. After the zombie siege, the biohazard level has been passed, and what follows is a month of extremely cold and extremely hot temperatures. During this period, it is impossible to go out to search for supplies, so preparations must be made in advance. This is what the man thought, but in the end he became greedy and stretched out his hands for things he shouldn't, and was eventually caught by Xia Xiaonuan. How old is this Zhang Lin and what does he look like? Xia Xiaonuan's name is fresh, but her personality is extremely tough and cold. She stepped on the man's head with her foot and said in a cold tone, "Tell you what you know about Zhang Lin. Tell me everything. Captain Xia, please be gentle, I will tell you everything, tell you everything." The man pressed his face to the ground, wailing in pain. "Stop talking nonsense and speak quickly." Xia Xiaonuan pressed harder. She is now eager to know whether the Zhang Lin in Hope City and the Zhang Lin she is looking for are the same person. After the war, the population in Hope City was reduced by 1/3. Ji Yutong said that this time it was relatively good. In the past, many people would die just to deal with the corpse king. But this time, under the leadership of Zhang Lin, it took almost no effort to deal with the 4 corpse kings, and many fewer people died. Although there was a big battle yesterday, the city of Hope did not quiet down the next day. No one dares to rest. For 2 consecutive months, I can barely go out and don't have enough supplies. Who dares to take a rest? Of course, except Zhang Lin and his women. When the noon sun shone through the curtains and into the room, Zhang Lin finally woke up. And Qingge was in his arms, looking calm and sleeping soundly. Last night, Zhang Lin worked very hard to make up for the injustice suffered by his eldest wife during this period. Although Zhang Lin would not be so rough when she was pregnant, but would be much gentler, but it's not strong enough, it takes time, it's been a long time. That is to say, and Qingge's physique is better now than before, otherwise he would never be able to withstand it. In this way, Zhang Lin used the yin and yang magic ring many times to restore her physical strength, otherwise she would not just be exhausted. She was naked and covered with only a thin blanket. Her undulating curves and looming white skin attracted Zhang Lin's eyes, making him reluctant to look away. Although Zhang Lin played with and admired all the beauty of Qingge at will last night, he was still very moved when he saw it again after a sleep. Forget it, business matters. Zhang Lin shook his head and dispelled a certain impulse in his heart. Although there was nothing to do today and it would be okay to come back a few times, he and Qingge agreed yesterday that they would discuss some business matters today. Of new goal. It was what Zhang Lin wanted to say last night, but Qingge was a woman after all. She hadn't been intimate with Zhang Lin for a long time, and finally they were together. He just said these things, and Qingge was still angry. Therefore, Zhang Lin could only try his best to calm her down, and then talk about these things the next day. Before Qingge woke up, Zhang Lin put his hand into the blanket and gently scratched her belly. In her sleep, she felt uncomfortable and twisted her body to express her dissatisfaction. But those hands were getting more and more excessive. Finally, she couldn't help it anymore, opened her eyes, and looked at Zhang Lin angrily. Zhang Lin lowered his head and kissed the beautiful red lips, and said with a smile, the sun is shining on your butt, why don't you get up? Can't I sleep a little longer? She was a little angry about getting up, but she couldn't express it to Zhonglin, so she could only sit up helplessly. As soon as she sat up, the blanket slipped off her body. She raised the blanket with some shy hands, blocking the large scenery. We are an old married couple. Zhonglin mischievously grabbed the blanket and threw it aside. And Chingay gave him a nice look, then rummaged through his clothes with a flushed face, and only after putting them on one by one did he dare to look at Zhonglin. Restaurant on the second floor. There were some cold meals on the table, and Chingwu, Ji Yutong and the twin sisters had all eaten at noon. Zhonglin and Chingay were at both ends of the dining table, eating cold food and discussing big things. The next 2 months will be a month of extreme cold, then a month of high temperatures, and then, the new era. Zhonglin said slowly, by then, the strength of those who have memories of past lives will increase by leaps and bounds, and we must get more rewards. You don't have to tell me this, do you think I won't help you because I'm jealous? And Chingay said with some dissatisfaction. Zhonglin smiled and said, I know you are not that kind of person, but after saying this, you may feel better. HMPH. And Chingay snorted uncomfortably, and then said, I have something to say up front. You say, you are looking for women, but you can't just ask for any woman. At least, they all have to be from good families. And Chingay said, you can't find some unclean women to take care of your family just for rewards. Come here. Of course, Zhonglin agreed immediately. Also, the character of the woman you were looking for must also be checked. If you find a few scheming ones, our family will become the legend of Zhen Huan. And Chingay added. Of course Zhonglin nodded in agreement. What Chingay said was actually what he thought. Now that he had one more person to help him check things, he couldn't ask for more. So, what do you think, how should we develop new goals? Zhonglin asked her, we can't just post advertisements on the street, right? Directly posting an advertisement to recruit a harem looks like a pervert. I've thought about this before, and I think it can be like this. And Chingay was prepared and started talking immediately, but midway through her words, her expression turned resentful. You're such a fool, you want me to help you find a way to find a woman. Zhonglin could only pick her up and put her on his lap, then kiss her cheek and comfort her for a long time before she continued. It will be a month of extremely cold temperatures soon. At that time, in addition to the houses in Villa 5 and Villa 77 for rent, there are also several rooms available for rent in Villa 16. Villa number 5 was the place where Luo Jingxin challenged Zhonglin and lost to Zhonglin. Number 77 belonged to Li Jing. After Chingay and others killed Li Jing, Zhonglin went to the city lord's mansion to get the house and put it in Ji Yutong's name. And Chingay's idea was very simple. He would also renovate Villa number 16, and when the extreme cold weather came, he would rent out the rest besides the place where he and others lived. Of course, renting out Villa number 16 is not to make money, but to select the right candidate. The tenants of Villa number 16 can only be women, and they are the kind of pretty and clean women. After they moved in, Chingay could inspect them. The 2 months of getting along with them was enough for her to choose a new wife for Zhonglin who had good character and a clean body. After hearing Chingay's idea, Zhonglin was overjoyed. If it were him, he wouldn't be able to think of such a way. She is indeed a good wife. Chingay, I must thank you very much. Zhonglin was so happy that he fell in love with Chingay even more. When they were in the restaurant, he started to unbutton her body. Do you want to be shameless? And Chingay was completely confused, his face was red, and he kept resisting with his hands. This is a restaurant, Xiao Wu and the others might come over anytime. Zhonglin didn't care, we are all our own people, what are we afraid of? After speaking, the hand movements continued. And Chingay really couldn't accept it and could only plead, don't be here, go back to the bedroom. Zhonglin finally relented. Seeing that she really couldn't accept it, he could only carry her back to the bedroom. That afternoon, a rental advertisement was posted outside the door of Villa number 16, which contained several rules personally enforced by Chingay. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.